Chapter 2201. Stepping onto the other shore, the spectacle of 10,000 waterfalls. Lin Moyu crossed the Star River of Laws, letting the huge waves hit him without hindrance. He walked faster and faster, almost running in the Star River of Laws. Along the way, he picked up several items, all of which were materials composed of the undying law. Finally, Lin Moyu saw the shore, not far from him. At this moment, his realm had reached the 9th level of the Divine Sovereign. The 9th level of the Divine Sovereign is also known as the Peak Divine Sovereign. Since he started cultivating, his realm had increased at the fastest speed in these few days. From the 5th level of the Divine Sovereign, he advanced almost one level every half day. Until now, he stepped into the 9th level, and as long as he crossed over and reached the shore, he would be in the other shore realm. Suddenly, the scene in front of him changed. Layers of mist rolled in, and the shore in his sight began to blur and quickly recede. Just as he was about to reach the other shore, the distance increased again. Lin Moyu's heart tightened, realizing what had happened to him. He had not only reached the 9th level of the Divine Sovereign but had also directly reached the half-step other shore realm. Now, the real crossing of the Star River began. All Divine Sovereigns were like this, swimming in the Star River of Laws, moving towards the other shore. Until they reached their limit and could not move an inch further. Back then, Zhu Qiwu was like this, reaching the 9th level of the Divine Sovereign and then unable to advance any further. Clearly seeing the other shore but unable to cross over. Until he had an epiphany and understood how to step onto the other shore, reaching the half-step other shore realm. Then he opened the blood path to the shore, paving the way with blood to help him reach the shore. Unfortunately, this shortcut was wrong. The real method was to cross on one's own. But that was too difficult. Now, in the entire human race, only Lin Mohan and Xiao Wu had crossed to the other shore with their own abilities. Even the Heavenly Saint Sovereign used the blood path to the shore to achieve the other shore realm. The shortcut brought a large number of other shore realms, but it also damaged their foundations, preventing them from truly reaching the peak. With the talent of the Heavenly Saint Sovereign, even if he could not walk the divine path, becoming a half-step supreme should not be a problem. Now the main course begins. Lin Moyu smiled slightly and walked through the mist alone. Boom! A huge force surged, hitting him. On the Star River of the Undying Law, the power of the laws permeated, forming large gray and white hands. The large hands continuously slapped towards Lin Moyu, trying to prevent him from crossing the river. Want to stop me? No way! Lin Moyu snorted coldly, his undying golden body burning fiercely, undying flames spraying out, surrounding him and blocking all the giant hands of the laws. The same was true in the soul world, where the power of the soul swept out, and the soul-slaying sword moved like lightning, destroying all the large hands that came. Lin Moyu continued to stride forward, heading towards the other shore. He wanted to see the scenery after stepping onto the other shore, to see what was on the other side of the Star River of Laws. Step by step, each step was steady. Flames flowed all over his body, blocking the impacts of the laws again and again. He walked for a long time, forgetting the time, until he saw the other shore again. Lin Moyu's mouth showed a victorious smile. Fortunately, I have the undying golden body. If it were just the purple gold body, the pressure would be much greater. Lin Moyu knew that the purple gold body was enough for him to step onto the other shore, but it would be much more difficult and would take more time. The distance to the other shore was getting closer and closer. 10 steps. 8 steps, 6 steps. With only 6 steps left, the Undying Law condensed again, and at this moment, the entire Undying Law was in turmoil. The Undying Law condensed into 2 divine dragons, one pure white, exuding an extremely rich life force. The other was gray, carrying a terrifying aura of death. The 2 divine dragons rushed towards Lin Moyu simultaneously, crashing heavily into him. The undying golden body exploded with flames, forcibly shaking off the 2 giant dragons of the laws. Lin Moyu only took half a step back before stabilizing himself and continued to move forward. The 2 divine dragons of the laws roared and rushed towards Lin Moyu again. Halfway, they fused into one, turning into a gray and white divine dragon, crashing towards Lin Moyu. To achieve the other shore realm, one must pass the test, which came from the Star River of Laws. It wouldn't be fatal, but if one couldn't pass, they couldn't achieve the other shore realm. The shortcut of the blood path to the shore was to pave the way with blood, avoiding these tests. Lin Moyu's undying golden body burned fiercely, and he punched out with undying flames. The fist collided with the divine dragon of the laws, and the undying flames exploded, forcibly dispersing the divine dragon of the laws. The divine dragon of the laws dissipated and exploded, turning into pure undying law, merging into Lin Moyu's body. Lin Moyu felt that at least 1/5 of his undying law had been sublimated in an instant, transforming from the power of the laws to the power of the rules. The undying rule was very strong, much more effective than the laws. Lin Moyu smiled and took the last 3 steps, completely stepping onto the other shore. In an instant, the waves calmed, all the mist disappeared, and the star river of laws was behind him. Lin Moyu's eyes were bright, and the power of the rules surged in his body. After crossing the star river of laws, 1/5 of his laws had been sublimated into the power of the rules. Those who took the shortcut to the other shore realm had to sublimate all their power of the rules bit by bit. And the speed of sublimation between the two was incomparable, with a huge difference. Lin Moyu estimated that it would take him at most decades to transform all the power of the laws into the power of the rules. Other shore realms would take at least hundreds, even thousands of years. Zhu Qiwu, with his high talent, took more than 100 years just to transform the power of the rules after achieving the other shore realm. With the improvement of his realm, the next step was the upgrade of his techniques. Lin Moyu knew very well that his techniques would undergo a significant upgrade. Every time he crossed a major realm, it was like this. He was also looking forward to what the techniques of the other shore realm would be like. But before that, he wanted to take a good look at the other shore. This was what Lin Mohan told him, even the House Saint Sovereign did not remind him of this. Because they took the shortcut, although they also stepped onto the other shore, it was not perfect and did not receive true recognition. They would leave the Star River of Laws immediately after completing it. But Lin Moyu stepped onto the other shore with his own ability, so he was qualified to stay on the other shore for a while. Lin Mohan specifically reminded him to seize this opportunity and take a good look. Lin Moyu naturally dared not disobey his elder sister's words, as it would result in a beating. So after stepping onto the other shore, he immediately looked into the distance. He felt like he had entered a peculiar world, with waterfalls pouring down from the sky in the distance. That is, the Star River of Laws. Lin Moyu was shocked, seeing countless star rivers of laws. The star rivers of laws hung in the void, turning into waterfalls and forming the spectacle of 10,000 waterfalls. Countless laws fell into a vast, illusory ocean. The ocean floated in the void, colorful and incredibly beautiful. The water of 10,000 colors. At the moment he saw the ocean of laws, Lin Moyu instinctively thought of the water of 10,000 colors. The two were too similar, incredibly similar. The water of 10,000 colors is known as the ancestor of all waters, with a strong amplification ability for all techniques. The water of 10,000 colors can naturally integrate into various laws without any discomfort. Seeing this scene, Lin Moyu finally understood why the water of 10,000 colors could achieve such an effect. The water of 10,000 colors is composed of various laws. It can be said that the water of 10,000 colors is the essence of the laws, which is why it has such a magical effect. Lin Mohan naturally wouldn't let Lin Moyu only look at the water of 10,000 colors, there was something else to see. Chapter 2202, 2202. Chapter 2202, could it be a Dao Sovereign's treasure? With limited time, Lin Moyu's attention did not linger too long on the spectacle of 10,000 waterfalls and the colorful water. Instead, he looked along the Rule Ocean towards a more distant place. Straining his eyes to the limit, at the farthest point his gaze could reach, Lin Moyu finally saw an unusual scene. It was a giant gourd, and all the colorful water gathered and flowed towards it. The gourd was inverted, with its mouth generating an enormous suction force, drawing in all the colorful water. However, there were many gaps in the gourd's body, and much of the colorful water leaked out through these openings. This leaked colorful water disappeared into the void, its destination unknown. The distance was too great to see clearly, but Lin Moyu sensed that the colorful water flowing outside and the colorful water leaking from the gourd were not the same. Though both were colorful water, after passing through the gourd, it had undergone a change. Lin Moyu stared unblinkingly, wanting to see more clearly. Logically, he should move closer, as the closer he got, the clearer he would see. But he couldn't move. Lin Mohan had told him he could only look, not move. Because what he saw was not the real scene before him, but possibly a projection from some mysterious place. Lin Moyu understood this, just like when his techniques were sublimated, he saw the symbols of the great world. 4. It didn't mean he actually went there, he could only see but not touch, and couldn't even move a bit. 8. Any movement would shatter all the illusions. Point 2. It could be said that apart from moving his eyes and slightly bending his head, Lin Moyu couldn't move a single finger on his entire body. 4. He observed carefully, again from the Rule waterfalls, to the colorful ocean, to the giant leaking gourd, and the colorful water leaking from the gourd. 3. Finally, he noticed a clue. Point 3. My thinking was too shallow. The colorful water is not simply a fusion of various rules. Even if all the rules were completely fused, it wouldn't result in such terrifying amplification as the colorful water. 5 inches. What truly gives the colorful water its miraculous power is this leaking gourd. The colorful water is drawn in, goes through a cycle inside, and when it leaks out, it possesses that miraculous power. And the colorful water I obtained was what leaked out. Finally understanding, Lin Moyu realized that this gourd might be an terrifyingly powerful treasure, perhaps even surpassing the heavenly sovereigns. Something that could create the ancestor of all waters, Lin Moyu felt, was more powerful than a heavenly sovereign. He had encountered heavenly sovereigns and understood them to some extent, and he felt they couldn't reach this level. Could it be a Tao sovereigns? Lin Moyu pondered in his heart. Tao sovereigns certainly existed, as many heavenly sovereigns were pursuing this realm, so how could it not exist? It's just that becoming a Tao sovereign was too difficult, and no heavenly sovereign had managed it yet. If this gourd was an item of a Tao sovereign, then it wouldn't be surprising. After all, at that level, many things become inconceivable. Lin Moyu continued to watch, engraving everything he saw into his mind. He observed with extreme care, recording everything around him. Faintly, he saw some even more peculiar scenes. These scenes came from the water leaking from the gourd, reflecting some bizarre worlds within them. Then the scenes shattered, and everything returned to reality. Lin Moyu left the Rule Star River. The immortal Rule Star River, with a rumble, as if congratulating Lin Moyu, automatically flew to his feet. When others cross the Star River and achieve the other shore, the Rule Star River descends from above onto their bodies, which is a form of recognition. But for Lin Moyu, from beginning to end, the Rule Star River was always beneath his feet, as it was before, so it is now. He had long since risen above the Rule Star River. At his feet, 4 Rule Star Rivers flickered simultaneously, their light reflecting off each other, as if they were one entity. Finally reached the other shore. I wonder how my techniques have changed. After years of cultivation, he finally stepped into the other shore realm, considered a true powerhouse in today's world. There are less than 100 other shore realm cultivators in the human race, and Lin Moyu is now one of them. In terms of combat power, the other shore realm is nothing in Lin Moyu's eyes. Even against a saint sovereign, Lin Moyu felt he could fight and possibly win. Upon formally reaching the other shore realm, the first sensation was that his soul had taken another step forward. Lin Moyu felt his soul had reached the peak of Saint Sovereign. He vaguely touched a bottleneck, which felt like a high wall or iron barrier, difficult to overcome. In the process of cultivation, he rarely encountered bottlenecks, and even when he occasionally did, he could break through them easily. But this bottleneck gave Lin Moyu a sense of powerlessness, as if it were impossible to cross. Is it because the God's path is broken? To become a supreme, one needs to step on the God's path. With the God's path broken, becoming a supreme seems hopeless. Lin Moyu sighed slightly in his heart. It wasn't truly hopeless, just that the alternative path was equally challenging and difficult. For now, he set aside the matter of the God's path, as it wasn't something that could be resolved quickly. Besides the strengthening of his soul, his immortal golden body also became stronger with the realm advancement. Lin Moyu felt that with just his immortal golden body alone, he could challenge any other shore realm cultivator. Without using any techniques, just his fists could kill another shore realm cultivator. Those who haven't cultivated their physical bodies can't comprehend the terrifying power that comes with a strong body. After sensing his own strength, Lin Moyu began to examine his soul world. The soul world had undergone the most significant changes. The soul world had become even more vast, expanding at least tenfold, truly like an independent world. The Rule world still only maintained its shape, but in terms of scale, it was not much different from a saint sovereign's Rule world. The size of the soul world, to a certain extent, determines one's strength. In most cases, the larger the soul world, the stronger one is. The smaller the soul world, the weaker one is, and the Rule world constructed later will also be weaker. In the soul world, myriad points of starlight were scattered about, formed from refined starlight, twinkling and adorning this world, bringing light and vitality. Under the illumination of myriad starlight were numerous technique star cores. High above all was still infinite fusion, the most special. Although it was only a technique sun, it could dominate all technique star cores. Even origin techniques had to submit to it. The rules of infinite fusion were self-contained. Lin Moyu suspected it might be chaos rules, but he had no evidence. However, this thing had already developed basic intelligence. Perhaps one day it would be able to speak, and then they could communicate. Below infinite fusion were 3 origin techniques. Gather strength, strengthen army, and resurrect the dead. Gather strength and strengthen army were already too powerful on their own. Lin Moyu's advancement to the other shore realm didn't affect them much. In fact, with each advancement, these 2 origin techniques changed very little. Lin Moyu could understand this. After all, they weren't his own techniques, so he didn't expect much change. As long as they were usable, it was fine. Next was Resurrect the Dead, which had fused with the origin seed of the immortal flame. Resurrect the Dead was his own technique. After fusing with the origin seed of the immortal flame, it successfully advanced to an origin technique, greatly enhancing its effects. And with his advancement to the other shore realm, Resurrect the Dead was strengthened once again. This is the difference between one's own techniques and external techniques. Lin Moyu checked the specific changes in Resurrect the Dead. There were no major changes, only alterations in time and quantity. The existence time changed from 1,000 days to 2,000 days, and the total number changed from 1 billion to 2 billion. Both time and quantity doubled, and it could still be put into dormancy to extend the existence time. It was already strong enough, and being able to strengthen further made Lin Moyu very satisfied. Chapter 2203, 2203. Chapter 2203. Combat power to directly challenge a saint sovereign. Under the 3 major origin techniques, there are 5 passive techniques. Lin Moyu is very clear about how important these 5 passive techniques are. In his own battles, the role of these 5 passive techniques is not inferior to those attack techniques. They are still at the white star level and have not undergone qualitative changes, but their effects have been enhanced. The number of resurrections for the undead spirit has increased from 6 to 7, and the cooldown time has been reduced from 90 seconds to 80 seconds. As a result, the undead legion has become even harder to kill, indirectly increasing its combat power. Next are the 2 resistance techniques, physical resistance and elemental resistance. Their role is to reduce damage. Because of their existence, the undead can almost always win against opponents of the same level. After all, when you hit me, the damage is reduced, turning a serious injury into a minor one. And when I hit you, you suffer a serious injury. Over time, the gap widens completely. The 2 resistance techniques have increased their rule-based damage reduction from 5 times to 6 times, and their law-based damage reduction has increased to 2 times. Damage transfer and status immunity remain unchanged, with no significant changes. Lin Moyu, like an emperor, inspected his techniques as if reviewing his troops. In addition to the origin techniques and passive techniques, a faint white mist appeared on the other techniques. They originally carried rules, and now some of these rules have sublimated into the power of laws, making the techniques stronger. The level is still at the white star level, but the strength of the techniques has changed. The technique representing the undead gaze, the white star, has unknowingly ignited the undead flame. It exudes an aura somewhat similar to the bone hell. Lin Moyu found that it seemed to be approaching the bone hell, with signs of fusion between the 2 techniques. The power of the undead gaze has always followed the level of cultivation. Now, using the undead gaze can completely severely injure those at the other shore realm. Some souls at the weaker end of the other shore realm might even be killed instantly. Corpse explosion has also become stronger, with its power increasing from 100% of the corpse's life force to 120%. Although it only increased by 20%, it is enough to instantly kill enemies of the same level and even kill enemies across levels. The Undead Wings technique at the White Star level has incorporated spatial laws, while the Time Curse technique at the White Star level has incorporated time laws. They did not carry the undead laws but directly chose laws that matched themselves for fusion. Different laws have caused some changes in the 2 techniques. Undead Wings White Star level, summon undead wings, carrying spatial laws, opening the space gate, which can cross distances depending on the level of cultivation. Time Curse White Star level continuously burns the target's soul, causing continuous damage to the soul, while comprehensively reducing the target's various abilities. The technique carries time laws, allowing the caster to control the duration of the soul burn, with a maximum of 100 years and a minimum of 3 seconds to unleash all damage. The specific distance that can be crossed depends on Lin Moyu's level of cultivation. Lin Moyu also knows that he cannot cross millions of light years like Luo Shen. Luo Shen is a saint sovereign, and a very powerful one at that. Her spatial laws have all sublimated into rules, and she has constructed a rule world. Using the power of the rule world, she can open the space gate and instantly cross millions of light years. What effect his own space gate will have needs to be tested to know. In comparison, the time curse is much simpler. The effect is the same, still a curse attack on the target's soul. After incorporating time laws, the duration of the curse can reach up to 100 years, becoming a true long-term curse. It can also choose to unleash all damage within 3 seconds. The same damage, slowly occurring over 100 years, and instantly occurring within 3 seconds, are completely different. Based on past experience, the power of the time curse is similar to that of the undead gaze. It is estimated that it will not be a problem to severely injure those at the other shore realm. Of course, if a strong person at the other shore realm has a soul treasure for protection, that would be a different matter. The bone hell has not changed much. After devouring countless living beings, it is still a bit away from the other shore realm. The bone hell is already independent of his own level and does not change with his level. It has its own independent upgrade system. Finally, there are the summoning techniques, which are his main combat techniques, and Lin Moyu has the highest expectations for them. Just from the information of the techniques, it is impossible to see the strength of the summoning techniques. They must be actually summoned to know. Thinking and doing, Lin Moyu summoned a skeleton god general. The technique linkage was activated, and Death Knight, Legion Ruler, appeared one after another. In the blink of an eye, the starry sky was filled with undead. Anyway, the starry sky is big enough, and Lin Moyu did not intend to take them back, just let the techniques summon automatically. The good thing about technique linkage is that you don't have to worry about anything. It will stop automatically when full and will keep summoning as long as it is not full. Lin Moyu began to feel the power of the undead legion. The skeleton god general exuded the power of rules all over its body. Its rule power was already quite rich, with almost half of the rules already transformed. It is a solid other shore realm. If compared with cultivators at the other shore realm, the combat power of the skeleton god general should be in the upper middle position among them. Those who have just entered the other shore realm are not opponents of the skeleton god general. This refers to one-on-one situations. If compared in numbers, the skeleton god general can completely crush the opponent. Next is the Death Knight, which is stronger than the skeleton god general. Its lower body is wrapped in undead flames, with a dragon body emerging from the flames. The giant dragon it rides has also evolved, looking more like a holy dragon, starting to break away from the form of an elemental dragon. Of course, it is just bones, still different from a holy dragon with flesh and blood. Its upper body, a knight in white bone armor, is imposing, holding a shield in the left hand and a sword in the right, exuding an astonishing aura. Its combat power is enough to confront some powerful beings at the other shore realm. As for the Legion Ruler, after forming a legion and activating the Dominion technique, its combat power has reached the peak of the other shore realm, infinitely close to a Saint Sovereign. Without forming a legion, the combat power of the Legion Ruler is similar to that of the Death Knight. But it has healing abilities, making it slightly stronger than the Death Knight in actual combat. Finally, Lin Moyu's mind moved, and blazing flames ignited in the starry sky. A huge skeleton throne appeared, with the Skeleton King sitting on it. Wearing snow-white battle armor, with a crimson cape fluttering behind. A delicate helmet appeared on the Skeleton King's head, with a pair of eyes glowing red behind the helmet. The throne turned into a bone sword, falling into the hands of the Skeleton King. The Skeleton King gathered the power of 1 billion skeleton god generals, making it the strongest among all summoned beings. As soon as the Skeleton King appeared, the aura of a Saint Sovereign spread in the starry sky. The starry sky beasts that were following all exploded in fear, fleeing desperately. The aura of the Skeleton King was full of aggression, extremely terrifying. Ordinary god sovereigns would suffer soul damage just by looking at it. Lin Moyu carefully sensed the combat power of the Skeleton King, which had indeed reached the level of a Saint Sovereign, but it was the weakest among them. The Skeleton King did not have a rule world, just like the avatars of those demon sovereigns, it was an avatar without a rule world. Compared to someone like the symbol Saint Sovereign, it was much weaker. But no matter what, a saint sovereign is a saint sovereign, crushing the other shore realm without any problem. Moreover, the Skeleton King is numerous, not just one. If one-on-one doesn't work, it can be a group fight. Finally, I have the strength to directly challenge a saint sovereign. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. Facing a saint sovereign, he no longer needed to use any trump cards. Just relying on his own techniques, he could directly face a saint sovereign without any fear. Chapter 2204, 2204. Chapter 2204, Ahead, there is a path. Lin Moyu was very satisfied. Although it seemed weaker than before, considering that previously he was a 2nd level god veneration fighting a 7th level, and a 5th level fighting the other shore. But the gap between each level back then was nothing compared to now. Now that he was already in the other shore realm, the gap within the other shore realm was even greater. The difference between someone who has just entered the other shore and an experienced other shore cultivator is even greater than the difference between several levels of god veneration. Lin Moyu had just entered the other shore realm and could already compare to a saint sovereign. This indicated that summoning type techniques not only did not weaken but were even stronger than before. My ability to fight across levels has not diminished with the increase in realm but has instead become stronger. This seems to defy common sense and is not the usual case. Lin Moyu's attention naturally fell on the World Tree. The World Tree was his innate talent, and the talent would amplify the effects of techniques. His ability to possess such powerful combat strength was inseparable from his talent. The technique linkage continued, and the summoning went on without stopping. Lin Moyu focused on the World Tree, which had been absorbing the power of the World Crystals recently, becoming more lush than before. To describe the current World Tree as lush would be an understatement. The present World Tree already covered the sky and occupied nearly half of the vast soul world. The spiritual flowers on the branches were about to bloom, not only more numerous than before but also seemingly about to burst into full bloom. Under the spiritual flowers hung numerous fruits. The world fruits had grown significantly and were getting closer to maturity. The world crystals had a significant effect on the world tree, as the world essence contained within the crystals was the best nourishment. Lin Moyu examined his talent, and the world tree sensed his gaze, shaking and making a rustling sound. The branches drooped down, gently touching Lin Moyu's face, appearing very intimate. The talent information was transmitted and received by Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu's eyes immediately sparkled with boundless joy. World Tree Juvenile Stage Ability 1, Amplification, amplifies technique effects by 1,000 times. Ability 2, Connection, all members of the Undead Legion share damage and life and spirit, reducing damage received by 10 times. Ability 3, Rebirth, the Undead Legion and the Master will be reborn when receiving fatal damage, instantly recovering to peak state, and all techniques will reset their cooldowns. This ability can be triggered 3 times consecutively, with a cooldown time of 20 seconds after 3 triggers. Ability 4, Fruit, the World Tree will bear world fruits. Consuming a world fruit can accelerate the evolution of the Rule World, enhance the Rule World, and has a chance to promote the Rule World to perfection. If consumed by someone below the Saint Sovereign, it has a chance to give birth to a Rule World. Ability 5, Spiritual Flower. The blooming flowers can re-nurture members of the Undead Legion, granting them intelligence. Only members above the other shore realm can undergo re-nurturing. Ability 6, Leaves. The leaves of the World Tree can be used for refining tools and alchemy. The 3 functions of amplification, connection, and rebirth had not changed and were the same as before. Lin Moyu thought it might be because the World Tree was still in its juvenile stage. Although he had advanced to the other shore realm, the World Tree had not yet advanced and was still in its juvenile stage, so there were no changes. The growth of the World Tree was much slower than he had imagined. Besides these, the World Tree also had 2 abilities, Fruit and Spiritual Flower. The Spiritual Flower had not changed and was the same as before. The ability of the fruit had changed somewhat, as it could now enhance the Rule World and had a chance to promote the Rule World. Lin Moyu knew that promoting the Rule World was extremely difficult, and ancient saint sovereigns often had to pay a huge price to promote their Rule World. The Rule World determined whether a saint sovereign could step into the Supreme Realm, so treasures that could promote the Rule World were priceless. Unexpectedly, the world fruits of his World Tree could achieve this effect, which was indeed surprising. Lin Moyu immediately thought of several saint sovereigns in the human race, and the changes in the world fruits might be their hope. Finally, the World Tree had a new ability, Leaves. The leaves of the World Tree contained the power of origin and could be used for refining tools and alchemy. At this moment, the leaves of the world tree were already materials of the other shore realm and were very precious. Moreover, the material grade of the world tree leaves would increase with his realm, meaning he had an inexhaustible material library. I wonder if the leaves of the world tree can replace some materials for building the god's path. If they can, it would be much more convenient. Lin Moyu felt there should be no problem and was filled with confidence about building his new god's path. As long as he could devour the origin of the battle world and let the great world runes condense the 101st rune, he could attempt to build a god's path. Once successful, the great world would have a supreme, capable of facing the great world runes and finding ways to repair them. Lin Moyu thought a lot and looked into the distance, feeling that he was no longer at a dead end. Ahead, there is a path. Lin Moyu sighed deeply, gently patting the world tree twice. Thank you. The world tree trembled slightly, its branches rubbing against Lin Moyu in response. The summoning continued for half a month before finally stopping. The starry sky was densely packed with skeletons, and the white light emitted by countless skeletons was brighter than the stars. The surrounding starry sky was illuminated white, and the vast rule power stirred waves in the starry sky. Whether it was the skeleton god general, Death Knight, Legion ruler, or the strongest skeleton king. They all shared a common rule, the previous bone law, now the bone rule. Lin Moyu had already experienced the power of the bone rule from the skeleton king, where a single attack by the bone rule directly inflicted thousands of attacks on the enemy's soul. The damage to the soul would feed back to the body, causing severe injuries with a single attack. With the bone rule, the attack power of the undead legion became even stronger, attacking both body and soul, which ordinary people could not withstand. After the summoning ended, Lin Moyu finally knew the total number of his undead legion. The number of skeleton god generals increased fivefold, reaching 2.5 billion. The number of death knights also increased fivefold, reaching 500 million. The number of legion rulers increased the least, doubling from 2 million to 4 million. However, the number of legion rulers did not need to be many, as there were not enough skeleton god generals and death knights to supply them. Now, the combined total of skeleton god generals and death knights was 3 billion. With 100,000 as one army, it could form 30,000 large armies. This was less than 1% of the legion rulers. The summoning techniques seemed to balance each other, forming a whole. The elemental lich had not changed and was still 10 in number. For it, materials were the key, and nothing else mattered. One useful elemental lich was enough, more would be useless. With 2.5 billion skeleton god generals, it meant there could be up to 25 skeleton kings. 25 skeleton kings with the combat power of saint sovereigns made Lin Moyu feel he could single-handedly challenge the 100 Races Alliance. Chapter 2205, 2205. Chapter 2205. The sword of world destruction comes from beyond. A legion composed of 3 billion other shore realm cultivators is enough to sweep through everything in this era. Lin Moyu's gaze was cold as he looked towards the distant starry sky, in the direction of the demon clan. Your time is running out. Now is not the time to deal with the demon clan. Even those who have fled, Lin Moyu has no intention of hunting them down. He has just completed his enlightenment, and the power of enlightenment still remains in his body. If he were to eliminate the demon clan now, it would affect the results of his next enlightenment. In the state of enlightenment, the speed of cultivation will greatly accelerate. Now he needs to sublimate the laws into the power of rules, which requires a considerable amount of time. He needs enlightenment to save that time. So in his plan, eliminating the demon clan and the golden eagle clan will have to wait. In his eyes, these two clans have already become tools, and he can destroy them whenever he wants. Since that's the case, why not find a way to maximize his own benefits? In the sword realm, Lin Mohan's rule world is taking shape. A terrifying rule sword, covered in layers of black flowing light, is enough to make a god veneration's Tao heart collapse with just one look. This sword is called the Sword of World Destruction, possessing the power to destroy worlds. The entire sword realm trembles, and the sword intent within the sword realm is absorbed by the Sword of World Destruction, becoming its nourishment. There are countless treasured swords in the sword realm, ranging from the Saint Sovereign realm to the Supreme realm, and now all these swords are trembling. They simultaneously fly up, saluting the Sword of World Destruction as if paying homage to a king. Even the Heaven and Earth sword cannot withstand it, automatically flying out and keeping a certain distance from the Sword of World Destruction. The Heaven and Earth sword was once the treasure of a heavenly sovereign and the inheritance sword of the Heaven and Earth sword sect. It has seen many things. but upon seeing the sword of world destruction, the heaven and earth sword completely lost control. It flew far away, and a small figure appeared on the sword. The small figure was only palm-sized, looking like a 3-year-old child. It is the sword spirit of the heaven and earth sword, and when it looked at the sword of world destruction, its eyes were filled with fear. Master's sword is too terrifying. Compared to the sword of world destruction, it finds Lin Mohan even more terrifying. After all, she is the master of the sword of world destruction, a truly terrifying existence. The sword of world destruction is about to take its final form. Lin Mohan took out the Rule God Stone, which is now 1/3 less. Since the beginning of constructing the Rule World, Lin Mohan has been absorbing the power of the Rule God Stone. Now that the Rule World is about to take its final form, it also needs the Rule God Stone to push it forward. The Rule God Stone comes from the Rule World of a heavenly sovereign, containing a large amount of the heavenly sovereign's power. Absorbing the Rule God Stone is equivalent to absorbing the power of a heavenly sovereign. The power of a heavenly sovereign contains the power of reality and illusion, which is the most important step in completing the Sword of World Destruction. The Rule God Stone was thrown into the Sword of World Destruction. The Sword of World Destruction buzzed, emitting a sword cry, then gradually faded and disappeared from sight. A few seconds later, the Sword of World Destruction reappeared, its power seemingly stronger than before. In the alternation of light and dark, reality and illusion, the Sword of World Destruction gained the power of reality and illusion, becoming increasingly powerful. The sword spirit of the heaven and earth sword widened its eyes. The new master is amazing. To possess the power of reality and illusion at the Saint Sovereign realm, more powerful than those supremes back then. No wonder the master looks down on the inheritance of the heaven and earth sword sect. The master's own inheritance is even more powerful. But the heaven and earth sword sect is already the strongest sword inheritance in this world. Could the master's inheritance be from another world? The sword spirit of the heaven and earth sword knows many things. After all, it has existed since ancient times. It has always been in the sword realm and is not clear about the outside world. But it is certain that the heaven and earth sword sect was the strongest sword inheritance back then, without exception. The soul sword sect is slightly weaker than the heaven and earth sword sect. But no matter which sword inheritance, none can compare to Lin Mohan's Sword of World Destruction. Its small head thought for a while and felt that there was only one possibility. Lin Mohan's inheritance did not come from the Great World. The Sword of World Destruction absorbed the power of the Rule God Stone in the alternation of reality and illusion, becoming increasingly powerful. The terrifying pressure swept through the sword realm, turning into countless sword chi, almost tearing the sword realm apart. The sword realm roared continuously, and countless ancient formations were activated, starting to operate to protect the existence of the sword realm. The heaven and earth sword also flew into the air, landing in its original position, presiding over the formation. As the inheritance sword of the heaven and earth sword sect, it naturally cannot watch the sword realm be destroyed. But it doesn't know if it can withstand the power of the Sword of World Destruction. In the demon clan, several saint sovereigns were listless. This great battle was lost, and lost very thoroughly. The 100 Races alliance collapsed, and the Abyss Demon Sovereign fell. They fled back like dogs that lost their homes. If they hadn't fled, they would have died too. The combat power of the human saint sovereigns far exceeded their imagination. They felt that the human race had become unfamiliar, and the strength of the human race cast a shadow in their hearts. Not only was the front line lost, but the new home was also lost. The Eagle Emperor fled, the Demon Lord's avatar was forced to self-destruct, and the new home was torn to pieces by the Undead Legion. Many races were exterminated, and only a few escaped, homeless. They couldn't go to the outer domain, as the borderland was sealed. Those guys would eventually die under the butcher's knife of the human race. Flames rose, revealing a demonic face. "Come to me." The voice of the Demon Lord sounded, and several saint sovereigns immediately got up and flew towards the Demon Lord's location. They entered the true core of the demon clan, where two flames were burning. One flame was crimson, the fire of hell. The other was dark green, the fire of the abyss. The demon clan is divided into two factions, the hell faction and the demon faction, and their origins come from the fire of hell and the fire of the abyss. They followed the guidance of the flames and continued forward. The two flames began to converge, eventually forming the black fire of the demon. The fire of the demon is the original fire of the demon clan. Once, there was a supreme in the demon clan who controlled the fire of the demon. As a half-step supreme, the demon lord also controls the fire of the demon. Several saint sovereigns entered the world of the demon lord, a world purely composed of the fire of the demon. Normally, they are not qualified to enter. Inside the world, there is a huge space, and a not very tall demon sits there, motionless. This demon is already dead, without any vitality. Several saint sovereigns came to the demon and knelt respectfully, shouting in unison, "Greetings, my lord." Flames rose from the demon's corpse, and the originally dead demon suddenly raised its head and moved again. It did not come back to life, but someone was controlling its body, making it move. "Follow me." The demon lord turned and walked towards the sea of fire. He walked slowly, step by step, as if getting used to this body. The sea of fire automatically parted, revealing a scorched path. Several saint sovereigns looked puzzled, as they had never been here before. They followed the demon lord all the way forward, walking for a long time, and finally saw an altar. The altar was originally hidden in the sea of fire, now revealed as the sea of fire parted. The demon lord said, "Each of you, select 100,000 clansmen and bring them back here. I will send you away." Chapter 2206. 2206. Chapter 2206. No need, I'll go back myself. A massive army was charging towards the border region. Tens of millions of Golden Eagle clan members, led by the Eagle Emperor's avatar, with over 20 other Shore Realm cultivators and tens of thousands of god venerations in the ranks. The remaining god kings were also elites of the Golden Eagle clan, all top talents within the clan. They charged towards the border region like an arrow, intending to pierce through it. The border region had already been sealed off by the celestial dragons, with countless starry beasts forming a large net under the celestial dragons' orders. The number of starry beasts in the border region was incalculable, making this net very difficult to break through. But no matter how difficult, the Golden Eagle clan had to break through, as it concerned the survival of their entire race. The Golden Eagle clan no longer had any saint sovereigns, creating a gap in their power structure. When the human army arrives, it will be the time of extinction for the Golden Eagle clan. The Eagle Emperor was very clear about this point and had to leave behind some seeds of hope. Perhaps there would still be hope in the future. The Golden Eagle clan and the Demon clan were doing almost the same thing, both making final preparations for the continuation of their races. Near the human Xuanwu star region, space began to distort, reaching an extreme in an instant, and space folded. Then a space gate appeared, and Lin Moyu flew out of the space gate, flapping his undead wings. Lin Moyu tried it out and found that with his current ability, using the space gate, he could cross a maximum distance of 10,000 light years. The whole process took about 10 seconds. Compared to Luo Shen's ability to casually cross hundreds of thousands of light years, there was still a big difference. Luo Shen had already completely elevated her spatial laws to rules, allowing her to freely manipulate and change space, which was beyond Lin Moyu's current capabilities. After trying several times, Lin Moyu gradually mastered the space gate, and his precision also improved. Combined with star charts, the error range of the space gate would not exceed 10 billion kilometers. Complete mastery of spatial laws also greatly increased his speed. Without opening the space gate or using time laws, each step could reach 200 million kilometers. If he used time laws, he could slow down time flow by 4 times for himself. 1 second could be used as 4 seconds, and the space-time power could also increase the effect of spatial laws by 4 times. As a result, his maximum speed had reached 3.2 billion kilometers per second. This speed had already reached the level of a saint sovereign, surpassing all other Shore Realm cultivators. Even the other Shore Realm cultivators of the Golden Eagle clan couldn't reach this speed. Combining his own speed with the space gate, the 10 billion kilometer error could be corrected in just a few seconds. Moreover, he could draw runes. The 3-light rune was no longer keeping up with the pace, and Lin Moyu felt he could draw stronger space-time runes to gain even greater enhancement effects. Speed was just one aspect. Spatial laws and time laws both possessed extremely strong attack power. The space-time power formed by their fusion had even more astonishing attack power. After trying a few times, Lin Moyu was very satisfied with the effects. These two powers could be used directly, or corresponding techniques could be researched, or corresponding runes could be drawn to make the power stronger. But all of this required time, and there was no rush for now. With space-time power flowing, Lin Moyu covered 3.2 billion kilometers with each step, entering the Xuanwu star region in just a few seconds. The Human Emperor Network immediately sensed Lin Moyu and said directly in his ear, "You're back." Lin Moyu nodded slightly. Where are the Saint Sovereigns? The Human Emperor Network said, Tian Saint Sovereign, Hao Saint Sovereign, and Fu Saint Sovereign have returned to the Divine City. Sword Saint Sovereign went to the military, War Saint Sovereign returned to the War God Temple, Kill Saint Sovereign. Quote. The great battle had temporarily concluded, and now the Saint Sovereigns only needed to stay in the Divine City to issue orders. Lin Moyu asked, where's my sister? The Human Emperor Network replied, Lin Mohan is in the Sword Realm, constructing her rule world, preparing to advance to Saint Sovereign. I can't sense the situation inside the Sword Realm, but there's an aura of a rule world emanating from the Sword Realm. Lin Mohan should be fine. Lin Moyu naturally knew his sister's situation. With their blood resonance plus Lin Mohan's own cultivation talent bonus, and the assistance of the Rule God Stone, constructing a rule world to advance to Saint Sovereign was a natural progression. Lin Moyu wasn't worried about Lin Mohan at all and said, then I'll head back to the Divine City too. The Human Emperor Network said, I'll arrange teleportation and a warship for you right away. Lin Moyu now had authority equivalent to a Saint Sovereign and didn't need to wait for the monthly opening of the Port Star. He could go to the Divine City at any time. Lin Moyu smiled, no need, I'll go back myself. He flapped his undead wings, and spatial laws surged from the wings, immediately distorting the space in front of him. Through spatial laws, he sensed a spatial location 10,000 light-years away. Then space folded, connecting the space in front of him with the space 10,000 light-years away. A space gate appeared before him, and Lin Moyu flew into it, flapping his undead wings. In just a few seconds, he appeared in the starry sky 10,000 light-years away. By now he had entered the heartland of human territory. The undead wings repeated the process, continuing to advance towards the Divine City star region. After Lin Moyu left, the Human Emperor Network's voice sounded in the starry sky, a space gate is indeed more convenient than teleportation. Lin Moyu continuously activated space gates, and within a few minutes, he had entered the Divine City star region. Then he shortened the transmission distance of the space gates, advancing towards the Divine City. In the central hall of the Divine City, Tian Saint Sovereign, Hao Saint Sovereign, and Fu Saint Sovereign were sitting together, discussing what to do next. Lin Moyu had already told them the general framework, and he didn't interfere with the specific details. Little Mist wasn't here, she was riding Little Cow and playing in the Divine City. With the Human Emperor Network watching, nothing would go wrong. Tian Saint Sovereign calmly said, at the current rate, in about 50 years, all the star systems of the 100 Races Alliance can be reclaimed by the human race. By then, the amount of resources our human race will have. Quote. Halfway through his sentence, he suddenly stopped and looked towards the outside of the hall. A figure appeared at the entrance of the hall, walking in step by step. His pace seemed slow but was actually very fast. In just a few steps, he had already come before the three Saint Sovereigns. The three Saint Sovereigns sensed the other shore realm aura on Lin Moyu and revealed shock in their eyes. It had only been this long, and Lin Moyu had already reached the other shore realm from the 5th level of God Veneration. Lin Moyu's cultivation speed was indeed fast, but it hadn't been this fast before. They felt that after Lin Moyu reached the God Veneration realm, his cultivation speed not only didn't slow down but became even faster. During the battle, he was only at the 5th level of God Veneration, and now he had reached the other shore realm in one go. His cultivation speed was faster than light. Amidst their shock, Hao Saint Sovereign laughed heartily, congratulations, young friend Lin, on advancing to the other shore realm. Tian Saint Sovereign also said, congratulations, young friend Lin, on your great increase in strength. Fu Saint Sovereign's eyes gleamed, congratulations, Master Lin. Lin Moyu's advancement to the other shore realm had a different significance. The other shore realm can use the power of rules and can draw ancient runes. With Lin Moyu's attainments in runes, he would surely quickly master the method of drawing ancient runes. Combined with Lin Moyu's own techniques, Undead Legion, his combat power could no longer be measured by realm. Lin Moyu smiled, you three elders must have been very busy lately. Tian Saint Sovereign immediately said, it's just a matter of moving our mouths. After all, young friend Lin has already set the general framework. We're just making detailed operations within it. Fu Saint Sovereign said, we're collecting resources, but there are too many star systems, so it still takes time. Chapter 2207, 2207. Chapter 2207, I need to go to the ancient ruins. Fu Saint Sovereign recounted the recent actions of the human race, which Lin Moyu listened to carefully. Indeed, everything was proceeding according to his plan. There might be some minor deviations, but nothing significant. The people of the 100 Races Alliance had already fled, hiding and trembling in some dark corner. The human race was now focused on collecting resources and not pursuing them. Lin Moyu had said there was no rush for this matter, and collecting resources was the main priority. Lin Moyu asked, what about the demon race and the Golden Eagle clan? Have they made any moves? Fu Saint Sovereign said, the demon race hasn't shown any activity. They've contracted some star regions and strengthened their defenses. The Golden Eagle clan has indeed made a move. They sent a team charging into the border region. We don't know what happened inside the border region. Lin Moyu's lips curled into a slight smile. The Golden Eagle clan is acting as I expected. To preserve their bloodline, they can only leave for the outer domain. The border region is sealed off. Whether they can break through depends on their luck. How Saint Sovereign said, this time, the Golden Eagle clan is led by the Eagle Emperor's avatar. It might not be easy for the celestial dragons to stop them. Lin Moyu smiled, if they really wanted to stop them, they certainly could. But the celestial dragons also have limitations. They can't interfere too much with matters inside the great world. It doesn't matter. Even if they escape, they're just small fry. They'll be caught sooner or later. The outer domain is not a good place. There are many dangers there, and with bad luck, the entire clan could be wiped out. Even if some of them manage to survive by chance, it doesn't matter. It won't affect the big picture. However, the demon race's inactivity was unexpected. Lin Moyu pondered for a few seconds. Given the demon lord's nature, the demon race will surely make a move. They might have some backup plan to reach the outer domain. Fu Saint Sovereign, please use the Hopewood ancestral tree to closely monitor the demon race and see if they make any moves. Fu Saint Sovereign said, I've already had people focus on watching them. The information transmitted back by the Hopewood ancestral tree was too complex, with both useful and useless information coming back. Fu Saint Sovereign had arranged quite a few people to handle this matter. When all the resource planets are gathered, it will be time for the human race to take up arms again. The demon race, the Golden Eagle clan, the Black Blood Great Realm, and those who slip through the net. The human race won't let any of them go. They must all be cleaned up thoroughly. The real great cleansing hasn't begun yet. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry, taking it step by step. After the domain is completely cleared and the great world has thoroughly severed its karmic ties, they will need to start preparing to welcome the arrival of the battle realm. For the great world, this is the true disaster. If not handled well, the entire great world could be destroyed. Compared to the battle realm, the 100 Races Alliance is just child's play. The group discussed for a while, formulating plans for the next steps. The overall framework remained unchanged, with only some details modified. It was still left to the Saint Sovereigns to handle. Lin Moyu, as the planner, very candidly played the role of a hands-off boss. In the core of the Divine City, where the Lost Star Sea is located, Star Elder was sitting there fishing. With a hookless fishing rod, who knows what he had caught over countless years. Perhaps he was just fishing for a state of mind, something in the realm of thought. Lin Moyu came here and also quietly watched Star Elder fishing, without saying a word. He didn't disturb Star Elder, and the two maintained extreme silence. After a long time, Star Elder put away his fishing rod and said to Lin Moyu, little fellow, congratulations on reaching the other shore. It seems you're not far from becoming a Saint Sovereign, eh? His tone carried a hint of teasing, as if he was sincerely congratulating but also joking. Lin Moyu didn't mind and said, Star Elder, there's something I need to tell you. Seeing Lin Moyu's serious expression, Star Elder also put away his smile. What is it? Lin Moyu called out, Human Emperor. As soon as he spoke, the Human Emperor's projection appeared beside them. The Human Emperor said nothing, just looking at Lin Moyu, as if asking, why did you call me? Lin Moyu said, I went to the ancestral land of the Ox Demon clan earlier and learned some things. Behind the Ox Demon clan, there's a force from outside the realm. I judge that this force comes from the Buddhist clan. Buddhist clan. Star Elder's eyebrows raised, his eyes flashing with a sharp light. The Human Emperor remained calm, as if nothing could stir his emotions. Star Elder and the Human Emperor were clear about the history of the Buddhist clan's appearance and knew that they actually came from another world. Their purpose for coming here was self-evident, it was for the great world. To be precise, it was for the world origin of the great world. Lin Moyu recounted how the Buddhist clan had killed the Ox Saint Sovereign, adding some of his own guesses and judgments. I think that since the Buddhist clan wanted to use the Ox Saint Sovereign, it shows that they have many limitations in trying to descend here. This time, when the Ox Saint Sovereign sought help from the Buddhist clan, they might have felt that the Ox Saint Sovereign was beyond saving, so they killed him and left. It's also possible that after years of accumulation, the Ox Saint Sovereign and the others had lost their usefulness, and the Buddhist clan no longer needs them to descend. Star Elder said, all of these possibilities you mentioned could be true, but ultimately, the Buddhist clan will descend eventually. It's one wave after another. We haven't resolved the issue with the battle realm, and now the Buddhist clan is coming. To be able to kill the Ox Saint Sovereign, even if they used some special methods, it shows that the person from the Buddhist clan is not weak, at least a half step to supreme. Human Emperor, what do you think? The Human Emperor closed his eyes, quickly analyzing through data, and soon arrived at an answer. From Lin Moyu's description, we can deduce that the person from the Buddhist clan should be a heavenly sovereign. Only a heavenly sovereign could promise the position of supreme. Descending from an infinite distance, from another world, there must be some loss. It can't be a heavenly sovereign, it should be a supreme, with a high probability of being a peak supreme. If it's just a supreme, it's still manageable, but if it's a peak supreme, that would be much more troublesome. Star Elder sighed, internal troubles and external threats. Lin, what do you plan to do? Lin Moyu said, we'll deal with things as they come. There's no use in worrying too much. According to what the Ox Saint Sovereign said, they still need quite some time to descend, so there's no immediate danger. The battle realm is still over 1,000 years away. As long as we make good preparations, we should be able to handle it. I plan to go to the ancient ruins. Star Elder nodded, given the current situation, only the ancient ruins still hold hope. Lin Moyu said, I haven't told the Saint Sovereigns about this yet. We can tell them after the domain is settled and karmic ties are severed. Star Elder said, indeed, there's no rush to tell some things. We'll handle matters one by one. This old man can't do much anymore, it's all up to you now. Lin Moyu was very humble, the human race has been safe and able to recover its vitality over these many years, thanks to your great contributions. Star Elder shook his head, chuckled a few times, and said nothing more. Lin Moyu bid farewell to Star Elder and also left the Divine City. He was going to the ancient ruins, the 6 most dangerous ancient ruins. 3 of them are within the domain, one of which is in the Divine City Star region. This was part of the plan he had made early on. Perhaps in the ancient ruins, they could find a way to defeat the battle realm. After all, there might be remains of heavenly sovereigns or peak supremes there. Just as Lin Moyu left the Divine City, the Human Emperor Network's voice suddenly sounded, please follow me. Chapter 2208. 2208. Chapter 2208. Xiao Zontian has always been here. In the central area of the Human Emperor Network lies a massive core. For countless years, the Human Emperor Network has been emitting immense power, extending tens of thousands of light years, enveloping the entire human race. Originally, there were many other shore realm cultivators cultivating outside the core, but now there is no one, making it seem somewhat desolate. Like the god venerations, the other shore realm cultivators have all gone to work as porters. Guided by the Human Emperor Network, Lin Moyu approached the core of the Human Emperor Network. Although the other shore realm cultivators lived and cultivated here, they always kept a certain distance from the core of the Human Emperor Network. In fact, no one had ever truly contacted the core of the Human Emperor Network. Lin Moyu, filled with curiosity, wondered, why did the Human Emperor Network call me here? Following the guidance provided by the Human Emperor Network, a gap appeared on the core, resembling a passage. Lin Moyu flew in and followed the passage, reaching the interior of the Human Emperor Network. Inside was a vast space, and upon arriving, Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed as he saw something incredible. Within the core's internal space were numerous devices. These devices were peculiar, emitting lights of various colors. The key wasn't the lights but the fact that these devices looked very much like computers from Lin Moyu's previous life. However, upon closer inspection, they were fundamentally different from computers. These devices clearly had the aura of laws and were crafted artifacts. The power system of this world is completely different from my previous life. There is no technology here. The devices were arranged in a circle, with a bright sphere about 10 meters in diameter floating in the center. The sphere was very bright, with countless runes flowing inside like fish. Lin Moyu immediately recognized that these runes were ancient runes and extremely powerful ones at that. However, some of the ancient runes were damaged and incomplete. The human emperor appeared in front of the sphere. What you see now is my true form. Let me introduce myself. I am the human emperor, once a member of the human race. My name was Xiao Zontian. Lin Moyu was stunned on the spot. Xiao Zontian, the human emperor was actually Xiao Zontian. He wondered if he had misheard. How could the human emperor be Xiao Zontian? Countless questions arose in his mind as he stared at the human emperor, hoping to get answers from him. The human emperor's power surged, interfering with reality, and a tea table appeared in the space. Tea utensils appeared on the table and began brewing tea automatically. The human emperor said, "Since I called you here, I intend to tell you everything. No rush, have some tea and listen to my story." The two sat down, and Lin Moyu remained silent. After the tea was brewed, the human emperor took a sip and then began to speak. "You don't need to doubt it. Xiao Zontian is indeed me. At that time, I repelled various races, reached the half-step supreme realm, and led the remaining human forces to counterattack. I knew very well that if I didn't do this, the human race would never find true peace. Only by killing them all, making them furious, could the human race hope for a respite. Fortunately, my decision was correct. I killed one race after another, countless people, and became a feared existence among all races. I fought my way into the demon race, had a battle with the demon lord, and we both got injured. The demon lord was severely injured, and I, dragging my wounded body, fought the eagle emperor. The eagle emperor was also severely injured, but my injuries were worse, shaking my foundation. After a round of battles, many races were either dead or fled. I stopped the slaughter and returned to the human race to hold the fort. As long as I was there, no one dared to come again. The human race had a chance to breathe and began to recuperate. I established the War God Temple, focusing on cultivating combat talents and integrating the secret methods obtained from various races into ones suitable for our human race. I recuperated for 20,000 years, and my injuries finally stabilized, but the possibility of complete recovery was slim. Although the Demon Lord and the Eagle Emperor were severely injured, their foundations were not shaken and they must have recovered by now. Due to my damaged foundation, my lifespan was running out. At that time, the human race had not yet produced a new half-step supreme. If I left, the tragedy would repeat. I came up with a plan, refining the deceased god venerations of the human race into lost stars, forming the Lost Star Sea, and using it as the foundation. With my talent as the core, I nurtured the spirit of the Star Sea, which is the Star Elder you see. At this point, Lin Moyu was completely stunned, his heart in turmoil. The identity of the Star Elder turned out to be this: he was personally refined by Xiao Zontian. The human emperor continued, "The Star Elder is unaware of this, and I have never told him, so you don't need to mention it. I regard the Star Elder as the new foundation of the human race, meant to protect it, but that alone might not be enough. My talent was gone, my combat power greatly diminished, and my foundation was shaken again, further shortening my lifespan. The human race still had a world sea shell, so I left the great world to seek opportunities in the world sea. The world sea is fraught with dangers but also holds many opportunities. Perhaps I still had a chance. I ventured into the world sea repeatedly, and after 1,000 years of searching, I finally found it. It's the set of things you see now, technology artifacts from an unknown world." Yes, technology artifacts. That world follows a different path from ours. In their world, cultivation and technology are integrated, forming a new cultivation system. Although I haven't been to that world, I know it must be very powerful. I brought this set of things back and integrated into it. From then on, Xiao Zontian ceased to exist, and the human race gained the Human Emperor Network. Xiao Zontian's story finally ended, and Lin Moyu fully understood the origins of the Human Emperor and the Star Elder. Xiao Zontian neither died nor left. He has always been guarding the human race, never leaving. The title of War God is well deserved. Lin Moyu asked, "Why are you telling me this?" He knew that these secrets were unknown to the Star Elder and the Saint Sovereigns. He didn't understand why the Human Emperor was telling him these things. The Human Emperor chuckled while sipping tea. "It's nothing really. It's just that I've kept this in my heart for too many years and wanted to tell someone. Others are not suitable, but you are." Having said it, I feel much lighter. Lin Moyu smiled. "Do you think I can protect the human race?" The Human Emperor shook his head. not just the human race, I think you can protect the great world. Lin Moyu laughed. War god, you seem to overestimate me. The human emperor disagreed. It's not an overestimation. From my perspective, I can accurately analyze everyone's potential, including the saint sovereigns. I'm rarely wrong, but you, I can't analyze you. The same goes for your sister. It's as if you are beyond data. In other words, you are beyond the control of fate. Only someone like you has a chance to change the fate of the great world. I'm telling you this not to pressure you but to let you know how unique you are. Unique, perhaps. Lin Moyu indeed felt somewhat unique. The human emperor continued, the small world you were born in is itself very unique. Lin Moyu asked, do you know about the group of people who came out before me? About 1,000 years earlier. The human emperor network said, I know. When so many people came out of the small world, I naturally paid attention. At that time, the human race arranged a place for them, but they disappeared. I don't know how they disappeared, but they just did. I investigated and sensed the power of time and space. That power was very strong, beyond my ability to interfere. Chapter 2209, 2209. Chapter 2209. The demon ancestor above, bless my clan the human emperor, who was once Xiaozontian, had many conversations with Lin Moyu. From him, Lin Moyu felt his deep love for the human race and his sincere heart in protecting it. In his era, it was the darkest time for the human race. At that time, the human race was almost finished. If it weren't for him, there would no longer be a human race. The later war god temple and other human forces inherited his will and worked hard for the revival of the human race. Xiaozontian also split himself into two, using the Lost Star River as the foundation, integrating his talent to evolve into Star Elder. He himself merged with technological artifacts, becoming the Human Emperor Network. It can be said that he gave everything for the human race, exhausting all his efforts. The current prosperity of the human race is as he wished, and his efforts were not in vain. He saved the human race from peril and protected it for tens of thousands of years, giving his all. If it weren't for the limitations of the great world, if he had been born in ancient times, with Xiaozontian's talent, he would have likely become a heavenly sovereign. To this, Lin Moyu could only sigh, what a pity. Time and fate are so peculiar. Lin Moyu left the core of the Human Emperor Network, pondering Xiaozontian's words. This world is full of wonders. Xiaozontian ventured into the World Sea many times and saw many miraculous things. The World Sea is not safe, and Xiaozontian almost perished several times. Beyond the great world, there is a broader universe, and what Xiaozontian saw was just a drop in the ocean. Lin Moyu had long sensed this. He had only been to the World Sea for 10 minutes and already realized the insignificance of the great world. The small world where he was born was equally peculiar. Thinking back, everything inside seemed deliberate. It was as if an invisible hand was orchestrating everything from behind the scenes. Lin Moyu felt too weak, not qualified to explore these questions. Facing the impending battle realm and the ever-watchful Buddhist clan, the human emperor felt the crisis. In his words, there was a hint of helplessness. Perhaps due to his integration with technological artifacts, his emotions were stable, with few fluctuations. But Lin Moyu could still sense his worry about the future. The reason the human emperor told Lin Moyu these things was mainly that he placed his hope on Lin Moyu. Not just the hope of the human race, but also the hope of the great world. He had strategized for the human race for tens of thousands of years, seeing countless geniuses, but Lin Moyu was one of the only two he couldn't fathom, the other being Lin Mohan. The human emperor instinctively felt that if anyone could save the great world, it would be Lin Moyu and his sister. Outside the Divine City Star region, an ancient ruin floated like a mist. Its shape resembled a finger, left behind by the ancient rune warriors created by the rune heavenly sovereign. The ancient rune warriors completely collapsed in the end, with most of the ancient runes being obliterated and a few falling into the Divine City Star region, evolving into various secret realms. Only this finger remained relatively intact, becoming an extremely dangerous ancient ruin. There are many ancient ruins, such as the Sword Realm and the Cloud Mist Sect's Inheritance Site. These ancient ruins are not particularly dangerous, and the human race has explored all of them. After tens of thousands of years of exploration, the human race finally defined 6 ancient ruins as extremely dangerous, where even a saint sovereign would face life-threatening danger. The broken finger of the ancient rune warrior outside the Divine City Star region is one of them. A space gate appeared, and Lin Moyu flew out, taking 2 steps to arrive outside the ancient ruin. The ancient ruin is usually a forbidden zone, not allowing anyone to enter. It is covered by formations controlled by the human emperor network, and only with its permission can one enter. In the past 1,000 years, only the heavenly saint sovereign had entered once, gaining nothing and even getting injured. When Lin Moyu arrived, the formation automatically opened a passage for him, as if welcoming him. Standing outside the ruin, Lin Moyu carefully sensed its aura. This ruin has a name, called the Finger Ruin. The Finger Ruin is shrouded in mist, which appears thin but is impenetrable by any means. The Finger Ruin is enormous, with a height of 70 light-years and a width of 10 light-years. From Lin Moyu's position, he couldn't see the end. Based on calculations, the ancient rune warrior's height exceeded 1,500 light-years, and a single slap could destroy multiple star systems. To many, this is an unbelievable existence. Lin Moyu once thought so too, but after receiving the rune heavenly sovereign's inheritance, he learned the origin of the ancient rune warriors. Their size wasn't initially that large. The rune heavenly sovereign used space rune formations, not just one but many, to expand their size and enhance their power. In fact, when the rune heavenly sovereign created them, their height was less than 100,000 meters. After sensing for a while, Lin Moyu smiled. As expected, he came here. After the ancient war, the rune heavenly sovereign visited the divine city star region and entered several secret realms, including the Finger Ruin. Even after so many years, a trace of the rune heavenly sovereign's aura still lingered. Lin Moyu couldn't guess the rune heavenly sovereign's purpose for coming here. He wouldn't come for no reason. A heavenly sovereign wouldn't be so idle. Their actions always had a purpose. Based on the secret realms, although the Finger Ruin has enough runes and is relatively dangerous, it shouldn't be this dangerous. It should have something to do with the rune heavenly sovereign. He must have done something inside, greatly increasing the ruin's danger. But while increasing the danger, he must have left something behind. Lin Moyu speculated based on his understanding of the rune heavenly sovereign. The rune heavenly sovereign was very particular about balance, much like runes. If he made the ruin more dangerous, he would certainly leave corresponding treasures to balance it. Danger and opportunity coexist. Perhaps there will be gains. Lin Moyu took a step forward and entered the ancient ruin. The mist rolled, space began to distort, and the long silent ancient ruin welcomed a new visitor. In the demon clan's ancestral land, 3 saint sovereigns returned. They brought their clansmen in warships, each bringing 100,000, totaling 300,000. The soul-devouring demon sovereign's voice was low and filled with reluctance. Demon Lord, do we really have to leave? The demon lord sat there, controlling the dried corpse. Go, leave a spark for the demon clan. It won't be long before the human race arrives. Even if you reach the outer domain, it won't necessarily be safe. When the time comes, you 3 must separate and go to different places. Perhaps in the future, there will be a chance. The demon lord activated the altar, which ignited with blazing flames, and a vast power surged from it, distorting space. The altar was accumulating power to open a portal to the outer domain. 3 clusters of demon fire appeared on the demon lord's body, flying into the hands of the 3 saint sovereigns. This is the origin fire of the demon clan. As long as it exists, there is hope for the demon clan. We lost this battle, but we have won before. The human race's luck won't always be this good. One day, we will have a chance. Go, disperse in the outer domain and wait for the opportunity. 10,000 years, 100,000 years, 1,000,000 years, don't rush. The portal above the altar finally opened, and the aura of the outer domain surged in. The soul-devouring demon sovereign, hell demon sovereign, and lava demon sovereign bowed to the demon lord and left with their clansmen. After they left, the portal closed, but the flames on the altar did not extinguish. The demon lord controlled the dried corpse to walk into the flames, murmuring, "Demon ancestor above, bless my clan through this calamity." The demon lord controlled the dried corpse, standing motionless in the flames. The flames seeped into the dried corpse, and this corpse, dead for countless years, began to show signs of life. Chapter 2210, 2210. Chapter 2210. Fighting with the heavenly sovereign is incredibly fun. Lin Moyu examined the ancient ruins. From a sensory perspective, they were not much different from secret realms. Opening the eye of the soul, the peak saint sovereign's eye of the soul saw many runes. Countless runes flew around every corner of the ruins. Unlike secret realms, which are often evolved from one or half an ancient rune, the ruins contained many ancient runes, most of which were well preserved. The world evolved from these runes was more real and also more dangerous. Lin Moyu understood that everything he saw could also be seen by saint sovereigns who had been here before. But seeing was one thing, deciphering the ruins was another. The fact that no saint sovereign had deciphered the finger ruins over the years was enough to show its high difficulty. Lin Moyu stood still, carefully observing. He was looking for the vein of the runes. The runes flying all over the sky did not come out of nowhere, they were all evolved from ancient runes. They were the key to the ruins. After watching for a while, Lin Moyu suddenly frowned and quickly retreated several steps. A beam of light fell from the sky, slashing down like a sword. The ground melted, and a bottomless pit appeared on the surface. This attack came silently. If he had reacted half a second slower, he would have been hit. Seeing this, Lin Moyu swung his fist towards the ground. Gray flames emerged from his fist, with golden light flickering within the flames. The immortal golden body was activated, and the power of this punch was immense, enough to injure even another shore realm cultivator. Bang! With a light sound, Lin Moyu felt his fist hit something soft, like cotton, which was not satisfying. It seemed as if his power had nowhere to go. Then, with another light sound, Lin Moyu was sent flying. His power was rebounded by the ground, sending him flying along with it. Lin Moyu stopped in midair, looking at the spot where his fist had landed. The ground had a small pit, about half a meter in diameter and no more than 10 centimeters deep. This punch could shatter a star, but here, it only caused such insignificant damage. This showed the immense defensive power of the ground. Lin Moyu's eyes showed contemplation. This seemingly insignificant punch actually revealed many problems. Firstly, the light that attacked him earlier had incredible penetration power, far exceeding his punch. If hit directly, he would surely be injured. Secondly, the ground's defensive power was astonishing. The ground was evolved from ancient runes and could be considered part of the ancient rune warrior. This indicated the terrifying defensive power of the ancient rune warrior. In the blink of an eye, the mark left by Lin Moyu's punch had already been repaired, and the ground returned to its original state. The small hole pierced by the light was also quickly recovering. Lin Moyu stood in midair, looking into the distance. At the moment the runes launched their attack, he seemed to have found a trace of the vein. Suddenly, another beam of light fell from the sky. In an instant, Lin Moyu captured a rune, which was glowing. He dodged the attack, his eyes firmly locked on the attacking rune. This rune represents the Starlight Law. No, it's not just the Starlight Law, it also contains sharp metal runes. The Starlight Law and Sharp Metal Law are fused, forming an extremely penetrating attack. There are countless such runes. In the sky, identical runes were innumerable, impossible to count, covering the entire ground. Lin Moyu was not flustered but was thinking about another question, but what triggers their attacks? Having experienced many dungeons and secret realms, combined with his understanding of runes, he quickly figured out the attack conditions. That was, whether he moved or not. As an outsider, he was locked on as soon as he entered the ruins. As long as he didn't move for a certain period, the runes would launch an attack. Recalling the previous two attacks, Lin Moyu determined that the time was 3 seconds. As long as he didn't move for more than 3 seconds, the attack would come. 3 seconds was not enough to find the vein of the runes, making it impossible to find the correct path. Lin Moyu guessed that the purpose of such a rule was to prevent him from easily finding the correct path. He was also sure that as time passed, the frequency of attacks would increase, forcing him to keep moving, leaving no time to think. Let's use the old method. Lin Moyu didn't dwell on the problem. With a thought, a massive number of skeleton god generals appeared, quickly flying in all directions. He also started moving, choosing a direction at random. In this place, he couldn't stop. The skeleton god generals flew in all directions. The speed of the other shore realm skeleton god generals was extremely fast, like teleportation, disappearing from sight in an instant. The ruins are vast, with a diameter of over 70 light years and a width of 10 light years. Such a large area must be divided into multiple regions. Even for another shore realm cultivator, exploring it would take a considerable amount of time. As Lin Moyu thought, he suddenly frowned. Some skeleton god generals encountered attacks, and the attacks were strong, unable to be blocked by the skeleton god generals. More and more skeleton god generals encountered attacks from all directions. It seemed that no matter which direction they went, they would be attacked. Lin Moyu took a step forward, quickly catching up with the skeleton god generals. In front of him, light and shadow intertwined, countless runes flashing in the air, shooting out numerous beams of light. Each beam was incredibly sharp, easily piercing through the skeleton god generals, shattering their bodies. The skeleton god generals died in the attacks, then revived, only to be attacked again and die once more. No matter how many times the undead revived, their resurrection times would quickly be exhausted. The attack speed was too fast, and the skeleton god generals couldn't dodge. Lin Moyu frowned. What's going on? With a thought, he retracted the skeleton god generals. In an instant, the runes stopped attacking. Lin Moyu tried to fly forward. As he entered the area where the skeleton god generals were attacked, 2 runes suddenly glowed, and 2 beams of light shot down silently. Lin Moyu sensed them immediately and dodged the attacks, continuing forward. The runes in the sky continued to launch attacks, each time with 2 runes attacking together, more than when he first entered the ruins. After trying for a while, Lin Moyu retreated again. He found that as long as he left a certain range, the attacks would stop. Sure enough, it's divided into multiple regions, and it also distinguishes the number of people. The more people, the more runes participate in the attack. This arrangement doesn't seem to be a natural evolution, it should be the work of the rune Heavenly Sovereign. Lin Moyu could distinguish between naturally evolved ancient runes and deliberately arranged ones. The rune Heavenly Sovereign had been here and altered the evolution process of the ruins, making them more dangerous. Since that's the case, let's see if your arrangement can stump me. With a smile, Lin Moyu took a step and disappeared without a trace. Fighting with the heavens is incredibly fun, and fighting with people is even more so. Now, fighting wits with the Heavenly Sovereign, only Lin Moyu could feel the joy in it. Separated by millions of years, the Heavenly Sovereign set up the layout, and Lin Moyu deciphered it. To see who was more formidable, Lin Moyu took a step, covering 200 million kilometers. As soon as he appeared, 2 runes lit up. The beams of light pierced through Lin Moyu, and his figure shattered like smoke, disappearing. Lin Moyu had already left, and the beams of light hid only the afterimage he left behind. Chapter 2211, 2211. Chapter 2211. Turns out, it's about borrowing power. Lin Moyu's every step covered 200 million kilometers, averaging 1 step per second, always disappearing just before the runes' attacks arrived. After 50 steps, he flew 10 billion kilometers in one direction. The runes in the sky suddenly increased to 3 attacking simultaneously, and their attack speed also accelerated. Lin Moyu clearly sensed this change and sped up accordingly. His teleportation speed increased, maintaining high precision with an error margin of no more than 10 meters each time. Lin Moyu remained calm, ignoring the runes' attacks. He muttered to himself, I have to thank the profound star secret realm. Without the profound star secret realm, the precision of his teleportation wouldn't be so high, and increasing the frequency without using space-time power wouldn't be so easy. If he accidentally teleported into a pile of runes, Lin Moyu couldn't predict the consequences. The runes in the sky gave Lin Moyu a sense of danger, so it was best not to touch them if possible. After another 10 billion kilometers, the attacking runes increased from 3 to 4, and their speed increased by another 10%. Lin Moyu also adjusted his frequency, remaining unflustered. The results from the profound star secret realm played a significant role here. Every bit of progress would eventually bear fruit one day. Lin Moyu believed this saying, and it was indeed true. Sometimes, seemingly insignificant efforts could prove to be of great use in the future. The number of attacking runes increased, and their speed accelerated. Lin Moyu noticed that every 10 billion kilometers, the number of attacking runes increased by 1, and the attack frequency increased by 10%. When he reached 50 billion kilometers, the number of attacking runes had reached 6, and their speed had doubled. At this point, Lin Moyu's teleportation frequency had reached once every 0.5 seconds, exactly double the previous rate of once per second. This was his current maximum speed. To go faster, he would have to use space-time power. With space-time power, 1 second could be used as 4 seconds, quadrupling the frequency and distance of each teleportation. He continued forward, and upon reaching 60 billion kilometers, the number of attacking runes increased again, along with their frequency. Finally, it exceeded his normal limit, and Lin Moyu had to use space-time power. Time and space laws fused to form space-time power. Wrapped in space-time power, Lin Moyu couldn't actively increase his teleportation frequency. His current maximum speed was 3.2 billion kilometers per second. Lin Moyu traversed the ruins at an astonishing speed, leaving behind countless afterimages. The runes' attacks could only shatter the afterimages, never touching him. Lin Moyu didn't know how far he had teleported. It was difficult to count. The attack frequency of the runes in the sky kept increasing, becoming faster and faster, seemingly without end. The number of attacking runes also increased rapidly, becoming more and more numerous. Light beams began to intertwine, forming large nets. Lin Moyu gradually realized something was wrong. If this continued, the runes' attacks would exceed his limit. Even with space-time power, he would eventually be hit by the ever-increasing rune attacks. No, my method is wrong. Lin Moyu realized his mistake. The rune Heavenly Sovereign had altered the ruins, and merely dodging the runes' attacks was useless. Through the space laws, he sensed that the space here seemed problematic, as if it had no end. Lin Moyu stopped advancing and began to retreat, contemplating other solutions. Soon, he returned to the starting point, and the runes stopped attacking. The first attempt ended in failure. This area had no end. He couldn't force his way through with speed. If speed doesn't work, let's try brute force. The skeleton god generals reappeared, flying into the sky to attack the runes. Sword chi fell on the runes, shattering them in an instant. The skeleton god general's attack seemed to trigger an attack signal. In an instant, countless runes lit up, and dense beams of light shot towards the skeleton god generals. Damn, the thousands of skeleton god generals were instantly obliterated by the dense attacks, leaving nothing behind. The shattered runes in the sky reappeared after a few seconds, looking as if nothing had happened. Truly a case of pulling one hair and moving the whole body. Dodging doesn't work, attacking doesn't work, so what's the solution? What kind of puzzle did the rune Heavenly Sovereign set up? Lin Moyu pondered the secret realms he had experienced and the trials left by the Heavenly Sovereign, searching for clues. A person's behavior pattern doesn't change much. The same person's setups must have commonalities. Even if he is a Heavenly Sovereign, it's the same. He has tested combat power, observation, and comprehension. What is he testing this time? Lin Moyu was certain that the current situation was arranged by the rune Heavenly Sovereign. Over the years, the methods that should have been tried by the Saint Sovereigns had all failed. He had tried as well, and it didn't work. What could it be? Dodging every 3 seconds, Lin Moyu pondered the key to the problem. If the sky doesn't work, could the correct path be underground? He summoned the skeleton god generals to attack the ground. The ground was split by sword chi, but the gap was shallow, no more than half a meter deep. Immediately, a powerful sword chi rebounded onto the skeleton god generals, sending them flying. All attacks were returned in kind. Lin Moyu observed this, noting it was the same as when he punched the ground. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration hit him, and he thought of a possible solution. It seems I need to borrow power. The skeleton god general stood on the ground and attacked the runes. Several runes in the sky shattered in the sword chi, triggering a chain reaction. Countless runes attacked the skeleton god generals. Dense beams of light descended, accurately hitting the skeleton god generals. The skeleton god generals died instantly, reviving in the white star technique. The ground was blasted into a large pit by the beams. This time, it wasn't just one beam but thousands of beams converging from different angles, creating a pit over 10 meters in diameter. Lin Moyu looked down from above, seeing that the pit was bottomless but rapidly recovering. Once isn't enough, let's continue. The skeleton god generals charged into the pit, attacking the runes from within. The runes in the sky were stimulated again, collectively going berserk and obliterating the skeleton god generals. The pit grew larger and deeper. Lin Moyu sighed inwardly, sorry, my friends. He summoned the skeleton god generals again, repeating the process. He felt a bit guilty, as the skeleton god generals were his comrades in battle, now sacrificing themselves for his sake. Fortunately, they could revive and wouldn't truly die, but he still felt uncomfortable. With each attempt, the pit grew larger, expanding from 10 meters to several hundred meters in diameter. The depth also increased continuously, seemingly endless. Lin Moyu firmly believed in his judgment and didn't give up. Finally, after countless attempts, a bright light appeared beneath the ground. It's done. Chapter 2212. 2212. Chapter 2212. Why evolve the Black Blood Great Realm? After the light appeared, the ground that had been continuously recovering suddenly stopped. The runes in the sky simultaneously dimmed, no longer shining as brightly as before. The light beneath the ground revealed an ancient rune. Lin Moyu descended and looked at this ancient rune. The ancient rune was extremely complex, and it was clear that its level was very high, no less than level 5. Even a rune saint sovereign could only draw a 3rd level ancient rune at most. To draw a 4th level ancient rune would require a significant amount of time. House Saint Sovereign had a 3rd level ancient rune, obtained from a relic, which he used as his attack method. Lin Moyu carefully examined the ancient rune and finally understood its identity. Like the Zon Star ancient rune he had obtained before, it was one of the 12 core ancient runes of the ancient rune warriors. At that time, the rune Heavenly Sovereign had said that relying on the core ancient runes, it might be possible to recreate the ancient rune warriors. He hadn't thought much about it then, as many materials had disappeared in the current era, making it nearly impossible to recreate the ancient rune warriors. However, if he could gather all 12 core ancient runes, or at least most of them, and combine them with existing materials, it might be possible to create rune puppets, even if recreating the ancient rune warriors was impossible. With at least a 5th level ancient rune as the core, the combat power of the rune puppets could rival that of ordinary supremes. Facing the upcoming battle realm, having one more supreme level combat power would be invaluable. Now that he was in the other shore realm, with considerable rule power, he could directly observe the ancient runes. He would no longer get a headache or find it difficult to remember after just one glance. After reaching the other shore realm, not only could he directly observe the ancient runes, but with a little practice, he could also draw them himself. After storing the core ancient rune, Lin Moyu used his soul to sense its function. This ancient rune was called the Gold Star rune, primarily used for attacks. Its attacks included both active attacks and reflecting the enemy's attacks, serving as a weapon for the ancient rune warriors. The Zon Star rune focused on transformation, while the Gold Star rune focused on attacks. Lin Moyu stored the Gold Star rune in his treasure ship's warehouse. As soon as the Gold Star rune disappeared, the ground collapsed, and the runes in the sky dissipated like dust. Lin Moyu saw a passageway, not far above his head, which automatically appeared after the runes disappeared. Actually, this puzzle isn't difficult. You just need to prepare some other shore realm puppets to solve it. But no one would have thought that the key to breaking the puzzle was borrowing power. I won this round. I wonder what the next puzzle will be. Lin Moyu was filled with interest. Solving the rune Heavenly Sovereign's setup gave him a sense of accomplishment. After all, it was a Heavenly Sovereign's work. The sense of achievement from solving it was naturally different. Lin Moyu rushed into the passage, ready to face the second puzzle. He didn't know how many puzzles the rune Heavenly Sovereign had set up here or what rewards they would bring. But one thing was certain: danger and opportunity coexisted. The greater the danger and difficulty, the better the rewards. The passage was pitch black. After flying for a while, Lin Moyu estimated he had flown at least billions of kilometers before finally seeing a bit of light. The light rapidly expanded in his vision, and Lin Moyu finally exited the passage. Dark red light filled his vision. Before he could see clearly, his soul warned him of impending danger. Lin Moyu instinctively teleported 1,000 meters away, and a thin red line sliced through his afterimage. A man in black, wielding a blood-red sword, was charging at him. The speed was extremely fast, reaching him in an instant. Lin Moyu's body ignited with gray flames, activating his immortal golden body, with golden light flickering within the gray flames. Boom! Lin Moyu was sent flying by a tremendous force, and a wound appeared on his fist. The wound wasn't deep, and the blood was locked in place, not flowing out. It healed in less than half a second. Meanwhile, the opponent's long sword shattered, and he was also sent flying. In terms of strength, the two were evenly matched, and Lin Moyu didn't gain any advantage. Another shore realm from the Black Blood Great Realm. Lin Moyu frowned slightly. The man in black was clearly another shore realm expert from the Black Blood Great Realm, but he wasn't real, he was evolved from the ancient runes. The people of the Black Blood Great Realm had extremely strong physical strength, much stronger than the cultivators of the Great World. Despite being in the other shore realm and having cultivated the immortal golden body, Lin Moyu didn't gain any advantage. The opponent's long sword also recovered completely, and Lin Moyu saw runes flowing on the sword. What is the rune Heavenly Sovereign trying to do? Lin Moyu didn't understand why the rune Heavenly Sovereign would evolve people from the Black Blood Great Realm. At this moment, the man in black raised his long sword, and the blade emitted a dark red blood light. Lin Moyu felt his blood and chi become sluggish, and his movements slowed. He immediately thought of an ability of the Black Blood Great Realm's cultivators, controlling blood and chi. They could affect others' blood and chi, slowing their movements. The man in black influenced Lin Moyu's blood and chi and charged at him like lightning. Lin Moyu snorted coldly, and his immortal golden body shone brightly. He rained punches on the man in black. He chose to go head-to-head with the man in black. Even without a weapon, so what? Both were in the other shore realm, and the immortal golden body was invincible. His fists constantly burst with wounds but quickly healed. The man in black's long sword was broken again. Lin Moyu didn't give him a chance to recover, punching him repeatedly as if trying to turn him into minced meat. In an instant, the man in black took millions of punches. The space roared, and the ruins shook. Lin Moyu's punches were powerful, seemingly capable of destroying the ruins. Finally, under Lin Moyu's relentless attacks, the man in black was shattered into countless runes, dissipating into the starry sky. Awesome! Lin Moyu roared. It had been a long time since he felt this exhilarated. He remembered his time in the small world, where he transformed into a warrior, posing as different professions, and fought against others with swords and spears. The feeling of such battles was very satisfying and worth reminiscing about. Unfortunately, after coming to the great world, he rarely had the chance to personally engage in such battles. Taking advantage of this rare opportunity, he fought heartily, relishing the feeling of every punch landing. After defeating the man in black, Lin Moyu began to examine the area. The area was dim, and the ground seemed to be covered in blood. Dark clouds covered the sky, with red lightning flashing occasionally. The sky is dangerous, I can't go there. Lin Moyu's first reaction was to avoid the clouds, sensing they were unsafe. He trusted his intuition, believing it wouldn't be wrong. The ground shook, and a team flew from afar, heading straight for him. This was a team of 12, all evolved from runes, and all were other shore realm experts from the Black Blood Great Realm. 12. Lin Moyu remembered this number. During the ancient war, the cultivators of the Black Blood Great Realm liked to form teams of 12. Each team consisted of 12 members, engaging in battles with the human race. Why did the Rune Heavenly Sovereign evolve them? Lin Moyu knew that the Rune Heavenly Sovereign wouldn't do anything meaningless. Since he evolved them, there must be a deeper purpose. Facing the approaching team, Lin Moyu's mind stirred, and tens of thousands of skeleton god generals flew out. White sword chi swept through, illuminating the ground and instantly engulfing the entire team. The team was swallowed by the sword chi, but not all the black blood cultivators died. They emerged from the sword chi, covered in blood light. They were strong, stronger than the skeleton god generals in one-on-one combat. But it wasn't a one-on-one situation, and the skeleton god generals wouldn't fight them one-on-one. Under a flurry of attacks, the black blood cultivators were quickly killed, turning into runes and disappearing. Lin Moyu's eyes gleamed. I know what the Rune Heavenly Sovereign wants to do. Chapter 2213, 2213. Chapter 2213. Weapons of war from the Black Blood Great Realm. The human race has always adhered to the principle of knowing oneself and knowing the enemy, regardless of who the enemy is. Therefore, the Rune Heavenly Sovereign used runes to simulate the cultivators from the Black Blood Great Realm, allowing the human race to understand the combat methods of the Black Blood people and thus respond accordingly. Unfortunately, the development of events later completely exceeded the expectations of the Rune Heavenly Sovereign. No one could enter the Finger Ruins to see his arrangements. The human race later did not engage in a great war with the Black Blood people but instead fought with various other alien races. It can only be said that things do not always go as planned, and even a heavenly sovereign cannot foresee everything. Now, with the 100 races pacified, the Black Blood people are already on their last legs. What use is there in leaving these things behind? So, the Rune Heavenly Sovereign knew that the Black Blood Great Realm had not been completely eradicated. At least he knew that some Black Blood people were hiding in the Great World. But as a Heavenly Sovereign, with the ability to set these things up, why didn't he completely eradicate the Black Blood Great Realm? Lin Moyu couldn't understand the thoughts of the Rune Heavenly Sovereign for a moment. If he was in a hurry to leave, why bother to come here and make these arrangements? If you're leaving, just leave. Why leave so many things behind? Anyway, you won't come back. The life and death of the Great World have nothing to do with you. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, feeling disdain in his heart. He had no appreciation for the arrangements left by the Rune Heavenly Sovereign. As he said, the Heavenly Sovereigns had already left, so leaving these arrangements was meaningless. Did they expect future generations to sing praises of the Heavenly Sovereigns and glorify their names? The skeleton army moved out again, flying in all directions to explore this area. Unlike the previous Rune world, Discoveries were made quickly. The skeleton god generals encountered teams from the Black Blood Great Realm, and both sides immediately engaged in combat. There were many teams from the Black Blood Great Realm, each consisting of 12 members, constantly roaming around here. They would attack any outsiders, regardless of who they were. The skeleton god generals fought their way through, constantly expanding their territory. The whole process gave Lin Moyu a strange feeling, as if he was really fighting against the Black Blood Great Realm people, as if the ancient war had started again. Lin Moyu's territory grew larger and larger, and he finally saw something else. It was a fortress. When he saw the fortress, Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed slightly. The war god fortress was not a real war god fortress but was also evolved from runes. The war god fortress was in battle, fighting against a planet. The planet was entirely black, clearly modified, transformed from an ordinary planet into a war star. The war star and the war god fortress were evenly matched, neither side gaining the upper hand. This is a weapon of war from the Black Blood Great Realm. The Black Blood Great Realm did not only have cultivators, they also had weapons of war, the most powerful of which were the war stars. At the peak of the war between the two races, the Black Blood Great Realm deployed war stars comparable to Supremes, and the human race also had war god fortresses comparable to Supremes. Compared to the current war god fortress owned by the human race, those were much more powerful. In ancient times, the war god fortress might not have been called the war god fortress, its name has been lost in the river of history. Both sides fought fiercely, neither giving an inch, while in the distance, the human races strong formed battle formations and were engaged in fierce combat with the Black Blood Great Realm people. All of this was evolved from runes. As a third-party observer, Lin Moyu could see all the combat methods of the Black Blood Great Realm, gaining an understanding of them. These were all arranged by the Rune Heavenly Sovereign, who wanted the human race to become familiar with the Black Blood Great Realm. When facing the Black Blood Great Realm, they would not be caught off guard. But unfortunately, his arrangements were of no use. This also showed the gap between the Rune Heavenly Sovereign and the Mysterious Master, as their calculations for the future were completely different. Lin Moyu watched for a while, already understanding a lot, and did not want to waste more time. 100,000 skeleton god generals appeared in the sky, rolling forward with overwhelming momentum, quickly crushing the Black Blood Great Realm's army. With no opponents left, the human army evolved from runes began to attack the war star. The skeleton god generals also launched an attack on the war star. Both sides were evolved from runes, originally evenly matched, but Lin Moyu's involvement broke the balance. The war star was quickly defeated, and in just over 10 minutes, the powerful war star was shattered into pieces, exploding in midair. The war god fortress's gate opened, and the human army returned to the fortress. The war god fortress hovered in the air, emitting a faint light, motionless. It shot out a stream of light, like a beacon guiding Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu understood, and with a flash, he stood on the war god fortress. The war god fortress roared and flew up, rushing towards the distance. The war god fortress's speed was very fast, constantly shuttling through space, faster than Lin Moyu's space-time power. This speed had already surpassed that of a Saint Sovereign, comparable to a half-step supreme. Although Lin Moyu disdained the Rune Heavenly Sovereign's arrangements, he had to admire the Rune Heavenly Sovereign. To play with runes to this extent, no one else could do it but him. The war god fortress flew for a while and then suddenly slowed down and stopped. The gate opened with a roar, and the human army rushed out from the fortress. A war star in the Black Blood Great Realm's army appeared ahead, and a new battle began. Lin Moyu directly deployed the Undead Legion, crushing forward. He already understood that the Rune Heavenly Sovereign had simulated the ancient war with the Black Blood Great Realm in this area using runes. So what he had to do was simple, just help the human race defeat the Black Blood Great Realm. After understanding the Rune Heavenly Sovereign's intentions, things became simple. 1 billion undead legions flew out, divided into 1,000 teams of 1,000,000 each, sweeping in all directions. The Undead Legion quickly encountered various battlefields, swiftly clearing out the Black Blood army within. In a month's time, the War God Fortress took Lin Moyu to various battlefields. The Undead Legion also swept through various battlefields during this month. As a result, efficiency skyrocketed. Finally, after a month, Lin Moyu saw other War God Fortresses. Hundreds of War God Fortresses gathered together, forming a terrifying army, advancing forward. Lin Moyu knew that the final battle was coming, and he became the leader of this war. A war star emitting gray-white light appeared in sight. Just one look made Lin Moyu feel as if his body was about to be torn apart. This war star is unusual. Lin Moyu immediately thought of a special type of star in the great world, a neutron star. Planets, stars, white stars, neutron stars, black holes. These are the basic classifications of stars in the great world. His techniques sublimated from stars became white stars. If white stars sublimated again, they could become neutron stars or even black holes. Neutron stars are extremely terrifying and very rare in the great world, few in number. Unexpectedly, the Black Blood Great Realm had transformed a neutron star into a war star. Although it was evolved from runes, it indicated that neutron war stars truly existed in ancient times. The great battle was about to break out, with countless human armies flying out to attack the war star. The war star also sent out the Black Blood army, clashing with the human army. This battle was grander in scale than the war with the 100 Races Alliance. Every warrior here was in the other shore realm, numbering in the millions. The battle spread over an endless area, shaking the ruins continuously. Not only were the armies fighting, but the war god fortress also launched a fierce attack on the war star. Kill! Lin Moyu shouted in a low voice, and the Undead Legion launched a full-scale attack. Chapter 2214, 2214. Chapter 2214, The Indestructible Neutron War Star. The eye of the soul gazed at the neutron war star. The neutron war star was covered with ancient runes, both inside and out, not just a single rune. Lin Moyu realized the power of the neutron war star. Even the rune Heavenly Sovereign needed several ancient runes to evolve a neutron war star, showing its immense strength. The current power displayed by the neutron war star was slightly stronger than that of a Saint Sovereign. Fortunately, the war god fortresses had formed a battle formation, connecting with each other, creating a powerful combat network that could rival the neutron war star. Originally, this great battle would not have erupted. Both sides were evenly matched, and over countless years, it had become a rule that there would be no further developments. It could be said that the plot was always at the starting point, never progressing. Until Lin Moyu's appearance broke the balance, the plot began to develop. In this fictional great battle, the human race began to gain victory, advancing step by step, defeating the Black Blood Great Realm. Lin Moyu played various roles, such as leader, hero, and commander, leading the human army in battle. Lin Moyu, along with the Undead Legion and the human army, quickly crushed the Black Blood Great Realm. Now, the final battle erupted. The neutron war star was right in front of them. As long as they could crush it, they could break this situation. There was no puzzle in this situation. It required almost no thought, only combat power. One force can subdue 10 meetings. In the face of true strength, the role of strategy is greatly diminished. The rune Heavenly Sovereign is trying to teach me this principle. How strange, the rune Heavenly Sovereign doesn't seem like someone who would do such a thing. If he were really so responsible, he wouldn't have left. Lin Moyu muttered to himself. He had interacted with the rune Heavenly Sovereign the most and had some understanding of his character. The rune Heavenly Sovereign had a strange temperament, difficult to fathom, and had never made Lin Moyu feel any sense of responsibility. It could be said that those who left, the Heavenly Sovereigns, were more concerned with themselves rather than the great world. From this, it could be inferred that the rune Heavenly Sovereign wouldn't go to great lengths to set up these things. This was also what Lin Moyu couldn't understand. The Undead Legion crushed the Black Blood Army. In less than half a day, the Black Blood Army was completely cleared out, and they began to besiege the neutron war star. The neutron war star was very strong. It had no formation barriers and relied solely on its own strength to withstand all attacks. Whether it was the skeleton god generals, human warriors, or the war god fortress, all attacks on it were ineffective. It was like an indestructible iron lump, standing firm amidst countless attacks. This defense, if considered as a physical body, has already reached the supreme realm. The neutron war star evolved from ancient runes is so strong. If it were in ancient times, the real neutron war star would be even stronger. Facing the siege, the neutron war star launched a frenzied counterattack. It evolved countless blood-colored swords, slashing down one by one. The war god fortresses connected into a formation, blocking the attacks. Both sides fell into a stalemate, forming a delicate balance where neither could overcome the other. Lin Moyu knew that to break the current situation, he could only rely on himself. This was also the key to breaking the situation. If he couldn't do it, he wouldn't be able to pass this level. Lin Moyu chose the simplest and most brutal method. With a light touch of his finger, the undying flames exploded like fireworks. The starry sky was instantly ablaze with raging flames. The gray flames illuminated the heavens and earth, dyeing the entire world gray. The exquisite and majestic skeleton thrones emerged from the flames, with skeleton kings sitting on them. The skeleton kings wore exquisite battle armor, their capes fluttering, and the skeleton thrones transformed into bone swords in their hands. A total of 25 skeleton kings, all exuding the aura of the Saint Sovereign realm. Above their heads, 25 Rule Star rivers appeared simultaneously. The Rule Star rivers were filled with white bones, surging with waves. With Lin Moyu's thought, the skeleton kings simultaneously drew their swords. Technique: God-slaying. The God-slaying sword fell on the neutron war star, and its light instantly became several times brighter than usual. The originally slowly rotating neutron war star stopped in place, and even its attacks ceased. Lin Moyu saw debris flying off its surface. Finally, there was some effect, but that was all. The neutron war star resumed its rotation after a few seconds and continued its attacks. Even the God-slaying technique from 25 skeleton kings, which could kill or severely injure a Saint Sovereign, only caused minor damage to the neutron war star. Its sturdiness far exceeded Lin Moyu's imagination. The neutron war star evolved from ancient runes had no soul, so the bone rules did not take effect, which also weakened the skeleton king's attacks to some extent. Lin Moyu's mind stirred, and 2,500 drops of rainbow water flew out, evenly distributed among the skeleton kings, 100 drops each. At the same time, 250,000 units of faith power burned simultaneously, also evenly distributed among the skeleton kings. Over the years, Lin Moyu had accumulated a vast amount of faith power, so much that even he couldn't count it. He only knew that the daily increase in faith power was over 10,000 units. The well of ancestral water contained 10,000 drops of rainbow water, and 1 drop of rainbow water was produced every 10 days. Lin Moyu would regularly collect the excess rainbow water for direct use when needed. With the addition of rainbow water and faith power, the combat power of the skeleton kings was greatly enhanced. But it didn't end there. Lin Moyu let out a low shout, and the power of Origin surged forth. Origin technique: strengthen army. The damage caused by the undead legion instantly increased tenfold. This was the skeleton king's strongest state. The 25 skeleton kings swung their swords again, and the sword light was several times brighter than before, shining on the neutron war star. Lin Moyu seemed to see countless skeleton shadows appearing on the neutron war star, swinging their swords and slashing down. The neutron war star stopped rotating again, with more debris flying off. With a tenfold increase in power, the skeleton king's attacks caused more damage to the neutron war star, but it was still only superficial damage, not very effective. It's really sturdy, Lin Moyu sighed inwardly. With a thought, the skeleton kings simultaneously pounced on the neutron war star. If techniques didn't work, they would use bone swords to hack directly. The bone swords were extremely sturdy, comparable to the blood-colored long swords of the Black Blood Great Realm's Saint Sovereigns, and could rival the rune swords made by the Heavenly Sovereigns. The bone swords struck the neutron war star, causing a series of roars. Each strike could chip off some debris from the neutron war star, but at this rate, it would take hundreds of years of continuous hacking to destroy it. The neutron war star continued to rotate and counterattack, evolving blood-colored long swords that slashed at the skeleton kings, preventing them from fully attacking. The skeleton kings also failed. Lin Moyu sighed. Conventional methods had lost their effectiveness. The neutron war star was indeed an indestructible iron lump, even in ancient times, causing headaches for the human race. Lin Moyu's eyes revealed contemplation: either rely on sufficiently powerful combat strength to shatter it, or find another way to break its defense. Now that conventional methods had lost their effectiveness, Lin Moyu pondered other solutions. The world-destroying fire was useless. It targeted souls and wouldn't cause much damage to the neutron war star. The staff of calamity should work, but it was the final trump card. Lin Moyu didn't want to rely on the staff of calamity unless there was no other way. After thinking for a moment, Lin Moyu came up with a method. Let's give it a try, it might work. He murmured to himself, and 4 rule star rivers appeared simultaneously. Time and space rules surged, merging into space-time power, pressing down on the neutron war star. Chapter 2215, 2215. Chapter 2215. Using space-time power to kill. Using space-time power to kill. Lin Moyu had seen it before but had never used it himself. Once, those god venerations outside the small world were silently wiped out by space-time power, and he himself almost died under it. The power of space-time can be imagined. The soul and body are separated, placed in different times and spaces, dying without knowing how. The neutron war star has no soul, but it has runes. It itself is evolved from many ancient runes, not a real neutron war star. If it were a real neutron war star, perhaps I would be at a loss, but ancient runes. Quote, Lin Moyu regarded the ancient runes as the soul, and space-time power wrapped around the neutron war star, silently infiltrating it. Space-time power is ethereal and difficult to resist, no matter how strong the defense. Space-time power eventually wrapped around each ancient rune, then suddenly surged. Each ancient rune instantly entered different times and spaces, and their time flows became extremely chaotic. Originally, the ancient runes were connected in some way, forming a whole. Now, they each entered different times and spaces, and their connections were severed. The neutron war star instantly stopped, no longer attacking or rotating. Without the ancient runes, its defense was almost instantly dismantled, and the undead legion and human warriors' attacks continued, causing it great damage. Debris flew everywhere, and numerous pits appeared on the neutron war star, making it uneven. It's effective. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the power of death surged out. As his innate law, part of it had already transformed into rule power, greatly enhancing its power. The power of death surged like waves, crashing into the neutron war star and then infiltrating the ancient runes, directly starting to corrode them. The power of death corrodes everything, from intangible souls to tangible matter. Nothing can resist it. The ancient runes would also be corroded. If they were still connected, supporting each other, the power of death might not have much effect. But now, they were acting independently and could not resist the corrosion of the power of death. Soon, the ancient runes became incomplete and then exploded with a bang, turning into dust and dissipating. As the ancient runes shattered, a large piece of the neutron war star also collapsed. More and more ancient runes were corroded by the power of death, and the neutron war star broke apart piece by piece. In the blink of an eye, the originally round neutron war star had become oddly shaped. In just a few minutes, the neutron war star completely collapsed. It's done. Lin Moyu exhaled, the first time he used space-time power to kill, and the effect was excellent. He knew very well that if he used space-time power against a living saint sovereign, the effect might not be as good. A saint sovereign is a living being and wouldn't stand still for you to kill. But against such a dead object, the effect was surprisingly good. As the neutron war star collapsed, the war god fortresses and human warriors simultaneously stopped their attacks. The gates of the war god fortresses opened, and the human warriors returned to the fortresses. Hundreds of war god fortresses simultaneously emitted light, the light connecting into a single entity, illuminating the heavens and earth. The light grew stronger and stronger, bursting with powerful force, pushing Lin Moyu away. Lin Moyu looked at the light illuminating the heavens and earth. It's over, time for the reward. The Rune Heavenly Sovereign's setup has always been like this. As long as you pass, there is a reward. He is very particular about balance. In the light, Lin Moyu felt a strong aura of ancient runes, not ordinary ones, at least level 4 or above. Lin Moyu's heart moved. Could it be? He guessed what the reward was. Until the light completely disappeared, 3 ancient runes appeared before his eyes. The 3 ancient runes emitted a powerful aura, their surfaces shimmering, all of them level 5 ancient runes. Sure enough, they are core ancient runes, and giving 3 at once, how generous. Lin Moyu chuckled and put away all 3 core ancient runes. Given the high difficulty, even if all the saint sovereigns of the human race were here, they would have no way to deal with the neutron war star. Even if the Star Elder Emperor came, he might not be able to solve the neutron war star. So, the reward of 3 core ancient runes is not too much. To create a rune warrior, 12 core ancient runes are needed. Now, 5 have been obtained, with 7 more to go. Lin Moyu couldn't help but suspect that the remaining 7 core ancient runes were all in the finger ruins. Thinking about it, the possibility is very high. A vortex appeared in the sky, and Lin Moyu soared into it. After he left, the space collapsed, and everything was wiped out. It was as if the task had been completed, and there was no longer any need for existence. The vortex felt similar to a secret realm and somewhat like the dungeons in the small world. He experienced a transmission in the vortex, and when his vision recovered, he had entered another space. This time, what kind of game is it? Is it a puzzle or a battle, or both? After the rune heavenly sovereign's manipulations, the evolution of the ancient runes could no longer be judged by common sense. Instead, it depended on the rune heavenly sovereign's thoughts, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. No matter what the rune heavenly sovereign did, there were traces to follow. Just follow his thinking. Lin Moyu looked around the space. The sun was shining brightly, and a warm sun hung in the sky. But strangely, on the other side of the sky, there was a full moon. The sun and moon shining together, such a scene is rare. In the great world, not every star system has a moon. Many star systems have no moon, but they do have two stars. In the small world, there were both sun and moon, which was the environment Lin Moyu was most accustomed to. Lin Moyu looked at the warm sun, feeling the warmth of the sunlight, very comfortable. But his eyes narrowed slightly. Who is watching me? His extremely sensitive soul told him that someone was secretly watching him. Since entering this space, the feeling of being watched had always been there. But he couldn't find out who was watching him or where they were. Lin Moyu didn't dwell too much on the issue of being watched. Since he couldn't find the other party, he chose to ignore it. Most likely, it's the rune heavenly sovereign. Thinking this, Lin Moyu walked forward. This world was not desolate, there were mountains and waters, and a road under his feet. At the end of the road, he vaguely saw a city. The city was located between two high mountains, surrounded by clouds and mist, making it difficult to see clearly. But Lin Moyu could feel that the city was very majestic, more so than any human city in reality. Lin Moyu walked along the road, discovering that his space laws were restricted, unable to move quickly. He couldn't take steps of billions of kilometers, and without using time laws, each step was only about 100 meters. The space had changed, and Lin Moyu tried to adapt but found it impossible. The space here was very special, like waves, constantly surging and changing. No surge was the same, making it impossible for him to adapt. The change in space also limited his speed. He could fly, but his flying height and speed were less than 1/10,000th of normal. He had no choice but to walk step by step. The road was very quiet, with no pedestrians, only the road itself. The city seemed close but was actually very far away. As he walked, the entire space became quiet, even the sound of the wind disappeared. This world had no night, day and night alternated only between light and dark. When the warm sun dimmed and the full moon brightened, it signaled the arrival of night. In the alternation of light and dark, Lin Moyu walked for 100 days. The sound of the wind reached his ears, and the city in his vision finally changed. Chapter 2216, 2216. Chapter 2216, Rune Evolution, Ancient City. The first changes appeared on both sides of the road. At some point, green trees appeared along the road. The trees formed a canopy, blocking the sunlight. The sunlight filtered through the gaps in the leaves, creating beautiful beams of light. Lin Moyu instinctively activated the Eye of the Soul and was surprised to find that there were no runes on these trees. How can this be? Everything in the ruins was evolved from runes, and the Eye of the Soul could see the truth in the runes. But now, the runes were gone, and everything seemed incredibly real. Lin Moyu even began to doubt whether he had entered the real world. The city hidden in the mountains and clouds in the distance finally revealed its majestic appearance. It was an unimaginably grand city, with walls towering 10,000 meters high, reaching into the clouds and with no end in sight. On the city walls, a light projection cast 3 large characters into the sky: Mingfu City. Lin Moyu stood still and could see figures moving on the city walls. There were even people standing in midair above the city. These people wore long robes, looking like immortals. "Please make way." A shout suddenly came from behind, and Lin Moyu turned to see a team approaching from behind. Instinctively, he stepped aside to let the team pass. Leading the team was a large carriage, pulled by 8 giant horses, taking up half the road. These horses were not ordinary, each stood 10 meters tall, with flames burning under their feet. Starry beasts. Lin Moyu immediately recognized that these 8 horses were all starry beasts. The aura they emitted was at least at the Other Shore realm. Using Other Shore realm starry beasts as carriage pullers was quite extravagant. Behind the carriage was a team of about 100 people. They wore uniform clothing, all in long robes, with characters embroidered on them. Mingfu Academy. Academy. This term was rarely seen nowadays, but in ancient times, there were many academies. Lin Moyu had read some information in ancient times. Academies were like sects, established by the human race for learning and cultivation. Watching them pass by and gradually disappear from sight, Lin Moyu felt a slight tremor in his heart. Could this be an ancient city evolved here? He couldn't help but feel a strong curiosity about this city. He also wanted to see what an ancient city was like. But before that, Lin Moyu activated the undead vision. The eye of the soul could see the truth, while the undead vision could see souls. With both in use, there were few things in the world that could escape his notice. Under the undead vision, soul flames were flickering. Indeed, they are not ordinary beings. Although there were soul flames, making them look like real beings, Lin Moyu immediately recognized that these soul flames were evolved from runes. Even though the eye of the soul couldn't see the runes, the presence of these soul flames confirmed that this was indeed a world evolved from runes. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign truly deserves to be called a Heavenly Sovereign, capable of creating such realistic illusions. Lin Moyu sighed. Without the eye of the soul, even he couldn't distinguish between reality and illusion. Lin Moyu followed the team forward. The team moved quickly, soon leaving him behind and disappearing from sight. Lin Moyu didn't chase after them, they had their path, and he had his. As he got closer to the city, the road became busier. Pedestrians appeared from nowhere, all heading towards the city. They were discussing various topics loudly, without any intention of hiding. Lin Moyu listened and was slightly surprised. They were discussing runes, and all of them were rune masters. In ancient times, runes were highly popular, and many cultivators studied them. During that time, the path of runes was very prosperous, and the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign was the undisputed leader in the field. This was a world evolved from runes, and everything that happened could be the key to breaking the situation. Lin Moyu listened carefully, not missing any details. Gradually, he understood some things. Mingfu City was a city dedicated to rune cultivation, home to countless rune masters. Among them, Mingfu Academy was undoubtedly the best, gathering the strongest rune masters. The head of Mingfu Academy was a rune master who had reached the supreme realm. This time, Mingfu Academy was holding a grand rune competition in the city, and the winner could obtain an ancient rune. This ancient rune was said to have been created by the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign himself, a 5th-level ancient rune that had been eternally solidified. When Lin Moyu heard this, he immediately realized the significance of this ancient rune and knew what he had to do. This ancient rune should be one of the 12 core ancient runes. He needed to participate in the rune competition, win, and obtain the core ancient rune. This was the challenge set by the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign, and winning was the way to break the situation. There was no puzzle, no battle, just a competition of runes. Senior Heavenly Sovereign, what are you trying to do, going to such lengths? Lin Moyu muttered to himself. He knew that even for a Heavenly Sovereign, evolving such a world was not an easy task. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign must have put in a lot of effort to set all this up. What was his ultimate goal? Compared to the tricks he had played in secret realms, this was far too elaborate, not in line with the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's usual style. At this point, Lin Moyu had no other choice but to take it one step at a time. Following the crowd, Lin Moyu entered the city. There were many people along the way, but none paid any attention to Lin Moyu, which was quite unusual. Lin Moyu's clothing was distinctly different from others, clearly from a different era. If it were normal people, they would surely come over out of curiosity to ask questions. But now, no one did. Lin Moyu felt that this was another detail the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign had missed. To evolve a real world, some details were overlooked. He had always known that the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign wanted to use runes to evolve real life, to glimpse the secrets of the Tao Sovereign. Unfortunately, the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign never succeeded. Now it seemed that he still lacked attention to detail. Evolving real life is difficult. Even a Heavenly Sovereign creating a race is not creating something from nothing but merging existing life forms. The difference between the two is significant and cannot be compared. After walking for several days and nights, the city was finally within reach. The 10,000-meter-high gate was wide open, exuding a terrifying aura from within. Countless strong individuals were inside, including those at the other shore realm, saint sovereigns, and possibly even supremes. With curiosity, Lin Moyu entered the city, observing the buildings inside. So this is what an ancient city looks like. The city had tall buildings, many reaching 1,000 meters high. The buildings were tall but had few floors, mostly only 9. Rune formations were almost everywhere, countless in number. Occasionally, powerful auras emanated from the buildings, indicating the presence of strong individuals inside. Other shore realm cultivators are everywhere. So this is the ancient era. Truly prosperous. Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Here, other shore realm cultivators were everywhere, and saint sovereigns were also common. There were too many to count. If the ancient era was truly like this, then the current era is indeed pitifully weak. The entire human race combined couldn't compare to a single city from the ancient era. The gap is too vast. Following the road, Lin Moyu arrived at the gate of Mingfu Academy. Countless people were registering to participate in the rune competition. Everyone had to pass the tests according to the rules to officially become participants. Lin Moyu followed the crowd and registered as well. Chapter 2217, 2217. Chapter 2217, isn't this just a containment rune array? There were many people registering, and Lin Moyu received a number, 95270. This meant that over 90,000 people had already registered before him. Countless rune masters were interested in the rewards offered by Mingfu Academy. Although Lin Moyu knew these people were all evolved from runes, considering the rune standards of the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign, he dared not be careless. After receiving his number, he left Mingfu Academy and wandered around Mingfu City. It was a rare opportunity to admire an ancient city, and he didn't want to miss it. From Mingfu City, he deeply felt the prosperity and strength of the human race in ancient times. There were countless such cities in ancient times. Lin Moyu walked for a long time. Mingfu City was enormous and seemed endless. A day later, the entire Mingfu City suddenly lit up, and a massive rune array appeared in the sky. Mingfu City was located between two high mountains, and the rune array shone brightly, connecting the two mountains and forming a large net. Amidst the clouds and mist, a palace emerged. Countless people looked up at the sky, exclaiming in awe. It's Mingfu Academy. Mingfu Academy has appeared, how magnificent. I wonder if the palace master will appear. I really want to see the palace master. He is my idol. Various voices filled the air, and Lin Moyu smiled. These voices were repetitive. After walking a certain distance and passing a few hundred people, he found they were all saying the same things. Details, details. Lin Moyu chuckled silently. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign indeed lacked some finesse in the details. A majestic voice echoed in the air. The rune competition is about to begin. All registered participants, enter the rune array for the initial assessment. Those who pass the assessment can enter the official competition. The rune array above flashed with light, and countless people in Mingfu City flew towards it. Lin Moyu also rushed into the rune array. He felt like he had entered an independent space, which felt somewhat familiar. Isn't this the assessment room of the Rune Master Association? Lin Moyu laughed silently. It turned out that the assessment room of the Rune Master Association was modeled after the ancient times. Ahead was a dim starry sky, and a majestic voice sounded in his ears. The assessment requirement is to draw the same runes as those you see. The time limit is 10 minutes. Drawing 10 runes counts as passing. The scene brightened, and hundreds of runes appeared. These runes were all high-level runes and didn't seem difficult. However, Lin Moyu immediately noticed the problem. These runes weren't visible to just anyone. One needed a corresponding soul realm to see these runes. Lin Moyu sensed that at least a peak god veneration soul was required to see these runes. Without a sufficient soul realm, one couldn't even see the runes, let alone draw them. This alone would eliminate a portion of the participants, as many registrants didn't have a soul realm at the peak god veneration level. Lin Moyu casually drew the runes at an incredibly fast speed. It took him just over 3 minutes to draw all 100 runes, almost 2 seconds per rune. Then, his vision blurred, and he was transported away. He appeared in a plaza, with Mingfu Academy directly ahead. At this moment, there were a dozen people standing in the plaza, all participants like him. Very fast. Lin Moyu realized that these people were very fast, even faster than him. Their realms were all at the saint veneration level, higher than his, although they were also at the other shore realm. Lin Moyu knew that these people were also evolved from runes, and their speed was due to the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's arrangements. Lin Moyu didn't think much of it. This was just the initial assessment. The main competition hadn't started yet, so there was no need to rush. The dozen saint venerations were solemn and silent, not talking to each other. Soon, more people were transported over as they completed the assessment. After 10 minutes, no more people were transported, marking the end of the initial assessment. Less than 10,000 people stood in the plaza, far fewer than the number of registrants. A glow appeared above Mingfu Academy, and a rune master in a white robe appeared, holding an ancient rune in his hand. It's indeed a core ancient rune. Lin Moyu immediately recognized it as one of the core ancient runes. The white-robed rune master announced loudly, "Congratulations to all of you for standing out from the 100,000 registrants. You now have the qualification to approach the ancient rune of the Heavenly Sovereign. The ancient rune in my hand comes from the Heavenly Sovereign. This rune competition is also initiated by the Heavenly Sovereign. This ancient rune is just one of the rewards. The winner will qualify for the final competition." Upon hearing this, everyone present showed respect and longing, except for Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu noticed that their expressions were uniform, too consistent. Even clay figures couldn't be made this identical. Details. Lin Moyu sighed inwardly. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign was somewhat narcissistic. When mentioning himself, he wanted others to worship him. The white-robed rune master continued, "Now I will announce the competition rules. Here is an ancient rune, a third-level ancient rune. Whoever can replicate it the fastest will be the winner." As he spoke, he tossed the competition's third-level ancient rune into the air. The competition rules were very simple, with no rounds or complex formats. There was only one round. Whoever replicated the third-level ancient rune first would win. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, "This doesn't match the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's usual style. He used to make things incredibly complex. In the past, to obtain the inheritance, he had to go through numerous trials and puzzles, all extremely complicated and easy to fail. Although he learned a lot from it, the process was not enjoyable, and any mistake could lead to failure. Now, the rules were suddenly so straightforward that Lin Moyu felt a bit uncomfortable. He couldn't help but wonder, has the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign been possessed? As he thought this, his gaze fell on the third-level ancient rune. The white-robed rune master tossed the third-level ancient rune into the air, where it hovered above everyone's heads, slowly rotating for all to see. Many people flew up to observe the rune from different angles. This ancient rune. Lin Moyu also looked at the third-level ancient rune, finding it increasingly familiar. Suddenly, he realized, isn't this just a containment rune array? The containment rune array was one of the powerful runes inherited from the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign. At that time, the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign had said that the containment rune array was his creation. The entire containment rune array was composed of numerous runes, using the technique of splitting runes, making its structure quite complex. Unexpectedly, the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign had further refined it into an ancient rune, and a third-level one at that. A third-level ancient rune was the limit that an Other Shore Realm cultivator could master, and Saint Venerations were also at the Other Shore Realm. For any rune master who hadn't reached the Supreme Realm, a third-level ancient rune was a significant challenge. Several rune masters frowned, but unfortunately, their expressions were almost identical. In terms of details, the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign still had a lot to improve. Some rune masters began drawing after observing for a while, but Lin Moyu knew immediately that they were wrong. The predecessor of this ancient rune was the containment rune array, unique to the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign. The foundation of the containment rune array was the technique of splitting runes, which was not something an ordinary rune master could do. Lin Moyu smiled and began his performance. Since reaching the Other Shore Realm, he hadn't formally drawn an ancient rune. However, he was confident that with his understanding of runes, first to third-level ancient runes were no problem. He was too familiar with the containment rune array, having drawn it countless times. Now, he just needed to refine the containment rune array into an ancient rune. Without a model, he might need to study it carefully, but with a model right in front of him, there was no need for research, he just had to copy it. Lin Moyu exuded confidence. Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign, are you overestimating yourself or underestimating me? In just a few minutes, while other rune masters were still struggling, Lin Moyu had already drawn a containment ancient rune, looking identical to the one in the air. Chapter 2218, 2218. Chapter 2218. This guy seems to be in a hurry. The containment ancient rune drawn by Lin Moyu automatically flew up, and the two containment ancient runes floated side by side in the air, making it difficult to distinguish which one was the replica. Anyone with eyes could see that Lin Moyu's replica was flawless. The white-robed rune master publicly announced, "Rune master number 95,270 has successfully drawn the rune and is the fastest. He is the champion of the competition." As soon as the words fell, the sky was filled with radiance, and everyone except Lin Moyu disappeared, seemingly sent away. Lin Moyu's eyebrows twitched. Is it really this casual? This completely disregards the details. At this moment, it felt as if the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign was in a hurry. From the changes in the process, Lin Moyu could clearly feel the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's state at the time of very anxious. But if he was in such a hurry, why make such arrangements? Could there be some unspeakable reason? Lin Moyu couldn't fathom the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's mindset at the time. It was just very strange. The white-robed Rune Master held the core ancient rune and approached Lin Moyu. Rune Master number 95,270, do you want to continue the competition or stop here? If you stop here, this 5th level ancient rune will be yours, and you can leave with it. If you continue the competition, you might lose this 5th level ancient rune. Lin Moyu asked, if I continue the competition and win, what reward will I get? The white-robed Rune Master replied, you will get more ancient runes. As he spoke, he raised his hand, indicating that the ancient runes to be obtained were of the same level as the one in his hand. It was obvious that if he continued the competition, the ancient runes he would obtain would also be one of the 12 core ancient runes. Now, Lin Moyu had already obtained 5 of the 12 core ancient runes. If he could collect the remaining 7, he might have a chance to create a rune warrior. In terms of combat power, it would certainly not be as strong as the one created by the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign, but Lin Moyu thought it should be comparable to a supreme. After all, it would be a supreme level combat power, and the more, the better. Lin Moyu almost didn't hesitate. I choose to continue the competition. The white-robed Rune Master nodded. All right, the next competition will be held in the Holy Rune City. Take this, it will guide you there. Holy Rune City. A city named after the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign. Lin Moyu thought to himself, could it be the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's hometown? Taking the core ancient rune from the white-robed Rune Master, the core ancient rune emitted a glow, and the space instantly became distorted. Lin Moyu saw with his own eyes that Mingfu City below him disintegrated and collapsed, while he seemed to undergo a teleportation, everything before his eyes becoming a dreamlike illusion. Clouds and mist shifted beneath him, and the wind howled in his ears. Lin Moyu felt himself rising, constantly flying higher. This space was boundless, with no end in sight. He didn't know how far he had ascended. Under normal circumstances, he should have already left the planet and entered the starry sky. Lin Moyu felt a strong sense of unreality, as if he were in a dream world. Finally, he stopped, standing on clouds and mist. In the distance, a massive city floated. The city was grand and majestic, like a heavenly palace, indescribable in words. The overwhelming sense of awe struck him deeply. Even Lin Moyu, who was accustomed to seeing galaxies collapse and stars explode, was awed by this city. Holy Rune City, the city of the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign, exuded the aura of the Heavenly Sovereign. Before he could take a closer look, the clouds and mist had already covered the city again. 100 meters away, the space twisted, and several figures appeared. A total of 6 people, each holding an ancient rune like him. Each ancient rune was one of the core runes. They seemed to be the winners of the rune competitions from various cities, gathered here for the second round of the competition, trying to win each other's runes. The plot development is hasty, but at least it's reasonable. Will the pace accelerate again next? Lin Moyu thought to himself, and suddenly a figure appeared in the sky. The figure was somewhat blurry, and his true appearance couldn't be seen, but Lin Moyu recognized him at a glance. It was the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign. Having interacted with the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign many times, he wouldn't mistake him. I thought he had completely left, but it turns out he left a remnant soul here. Leaving remnant souls everywhere, besides his inheritance, what is he trying to do? Lin Moyu pondered silently. In the sky, the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign waved his hand, and the 6 ancient runes in the hands of the 6 people simultaneously flew up, gathering in midair. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's gaze swept over everyone, and his majestic voice sounded, today's competition, the winner takes all. There is only one round of competition. The winner will get all 6 runes, and the losers will get nothing. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign waved his hand, and the clouds and mist churned, forming numerous runes. The runes ranged from basic to advanced, totaling exactly 999. The competition rules are as follows. Select some runes from the 999 runes to refine rune puppets. The rune puppets you refine will engage in a melee. The winner takes all. The time limit is 100 hours. After 100 hours, the melee will begin. The plot pace accelerated again. Given the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's personality, he certainly wouldn't arrange it so simply. Lin Moyu felt that the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign seemed to be watching him. This feeling was identical to what he felt when he first entered this space. From the moment he entered here, he felt someone was monitoring his every move, and it was clearly the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign. It should be said it was a remnant soul of the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign didn't reveal it, and Lin Moyu naturally wouldn't expose it. If he wanted to act, Lin Moyu would play along to the end. In the end, he would see what the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's true purpose was. The 100-hour time limit was neither long nor short. The 999 runes could be fused with each other to form new advanced runes, or they could be combined in various ways, with almost infinite combinations. The key was not which runes were used, but whether the chosen runes were reasonable, whether they could complement each other, and ultimately exert powerful combat power. This was a 6-person melee, and it wasn't enough to just crush one person. To ensure a 100% victory, the refined rune puppet must be able to crush the other 5. Both defense and attack are needed, and both must be the strongest. Only these runes can be combined, which also limits the final combat power of the rune puppet. There is also a time limit of 100 hours, which is very tight. The other rune masters had already started drawing runes and refining puppets. Lin Moyu remained motionless, still contemplating how to combine the runes to make the puppet more powerful. Ordinary combinations wouldn't work. What he could do, others could also do. His opponents were all evolved from runes by the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign, and their rune skills were strong. Ordinary methods wouldn't be decisive. To win, he had to come up with something they couldn't. After glancing at the actions of the other 5 rune masters, Lin Moyu knew what he had to do. The methods they used to refine rune puppets were very ordinary, and the puppets they refined would be mediocre. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's method of refining rune puppets was very different, involving many unique techniques. The most basic was to break down the runes and combine them into rune arrays before refining. Having received the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's inheritance, Lin Moyu naturally understood this. He knew what to do and felt he could do even better. Because he could perfectly fuse each rune without any mistakes. Even the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign might not achieve this. An hour later, Lin Moyu began to act, selecting a dozen runes. He multitasked, breaking down and recombining some runes, while directly fusing others into new runes. Then he fused the new runes a second time, forcibly combining ordinary runes into 3-dimensional runes, giving them the characteristics of ancient runes. Chapter 2219, 2219. Chapter 2219. The final test, a massacre. Lin Moyu wasn't sure if the 3-dimensional runes he had combined counted as ancient runes. They should count. They do possess some characteristics of ancient runes. But compared to ancient runes, they seem to be missing something. Lin Moyu thought for a moment and realized what was missing. They lacked rules. Without the infusion of rule power, the 3-dimensional runes he had combined were still somewhat different from ancient runes. Lin Moyu used the Undying Rule to inject the power of life into the runes. The combined runes immediately burst with vitality, emitting the true aura of ancient runes. Because this ancient rune used the technique of splitting runes and contained the power of life, even if it was shattered, it could still independently evolve. Of course, Lin Moyu knew his power was weak and couldn't achieve the same as the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign, whose shattered rune fragments could still evolve into secret realms. He couldn't do it now, but he believed he could in the future. He had already grasped the key core of rune evolution, so the remaining tasks were no longer difficult. Different rule powers can give ancient runes different characteristics. Combined with the function of the ancient runes themselves, the effect of the rule power can be multiplied. Lin Moyu gradually understood that he possessed 4 major rules: Undying, Time, Space, and Starlight. Lin Moyu murmured to himself, the power of life from the Undying Rule is the core, ensures that the puppet can quickly recover after being injured. Time and the power of death is the sword, becoming the strongest sword. Starlight is the shield, protecting the entire body. Space is the defense, preventing the enemy's attacks from crossing over. With a clear plan in mind, he began to work quickly. One by one, runes were picked up by him, dismantled, and then recombined, carrying the power of rules. Using himself as a model, Lin Moyu created a rune puppet. Due to the lack of corresponding materials, this rune puppet wouldn't last long. Once the power within the runes was exhausted, the puppet would disappear. But no matter what, it was more than enough for a fight. The puppet held a shield in its left hand, with the Starlight Rule providing strong defense. In its right hand, it held a sword composed of metal runes, carrying the time rule and the power of death. The puppet's body was covered in armor, with space rules flowing on the armor, containing a vast internal space. To break this armor, an attack would have to cross billions of miles of space to hit it, by which time the attack would have been weakened countless times. Beneath the armor was the core rune, filled with the power of life, along with some backup runes. Even if some runes were damaged, the power of life could quickly heal them, and the backup runes could quickly take over. 100 hours was too short, and Lin Moyu could only achieve this much. When the time was up, the 6 rune masters stopped simultaneously. Each had refined a rune puppet, each with a different form, but all looked impressive and emitted strong auras, all reaching the peak of the god veneration realm. After all, the runes provided by the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign were limited, and without corresponding materials, reaching this level was already strong. Looking similar is one thing, actual combat power will be revealed in the fight. The voice of the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign rang out, "Time's up. All rune puppets, begin the melee." As soon as the words fell, Lin Moyu and the other rune masters automatically retreated, leaving space for the rune puppets. The battle between the rune puppets erupted instantly. Lin Moyu's puppet swung its long sword, and a flash of sword light appeared. The speed of the sword light was astonishing, breaking the limits of time and space, hitting a rune puppet instantly. With the blessing of the time rule, the time belonging to the sword light was slowed down, making its speed appear faster in reality. 1 second for others was 2 seconds for it. The distance that originally took 2 seconds to reach now took only 1 second. This distortion of time was quite peculiar. The sword light exploded, and the power of death swept out, corroding most of the opposing rune puppet almost instantly. The rune puppet collapsed on the spot, turning into dust. With one sword strike, one rune master was eliminated. Lin Moyu's eyes showed no surprise, he knew his puppet well. With the blessing of 4 major rules, it could even entangle a real other shore realm cultivator for a while. Not to mention these rune puppets, which were nothing. Lin Moyu's puppet, like a god of death, charged forward, the sword light flashing, eliminating one puppet after another. Some rune puppets tried to resist, but their attacks were blocked by a shield of starlight, to no effect. There was no intense battle, nor any prolonged entanglement. Lin Moyu's puppet almost crushed the others, slaughtering all the remaining puppets in less than a minute. Each time a puppet was eliminated, the corresponding rune master also disappeared. Their storylines ended, and they returned to dust and runes, going back to where they came from. In the end, only Lin Moyu and the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign were left, staring at each other. Lin Moyu smiled, "Long time no see, senior." The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's eyes also gleamed, "It seems you have indeed received my inheritance." Each remnant soul of the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign existed independently, with no shared memories. But Lin Moyu's techniques couldn't deceive him. This remnant soul immediately recognized his own inheritance. Lin Moyu openly admitted, "Thank you, senior, for your guidance. Your inheritance has been of great help to me." Lin Moyu spoke the truth. Without the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's inheritance, without the Concealment Rune and the Containment Rune array, his plans wouldn't have gone so smoothly. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign waved his hand, "Being able to obtain all my inheritance proves your aptitude, and reaching this point further proves your strength. Counting these 6, you should have obtained 11 of the 12 core ancient runes by now." As he spoke, he pushed the 6 core ancient runes in front of Lin Moyu, who accepted them without hesitation. Indeed, only one remains. Lin Moyu knew that since the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign said so, the last core ancient rune must also be here. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign chuckled, "The first core ancient rune you obtained was the Zon Star rune. The Zon Star rune is ever-changing, meaning the ancient rune warrior has countless combat and attack methods. And the last ancient rune is called the True Spirit rune. It is the most important of the 12 core ancient runes. Its existence is like the soul of a living being. You understand its specific function." Lin Moyu instantly understood. The body is the vessel, but the soul is the essence. The same applies to ancient rune warriors. Without a soul, they can only mechanically follow their master's orders. But with a soul, they gain a certain level of intelligence. The simplest analogy is that the ancient rune warrior gains a semblance of sentience. Of course, this sentience isn't very strong, but it's sufficient. The difference between having it and not having it is significant. Lin Moyu pondered, the ideal state would be for the ancient rune warrior to develop its own artifact spirit, but that's clearly not achieved. The ancient rune warrior is too powerful, making it extremely difficult to develop an artifact spirit. So the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign used another method, directly using runes to give the ancient rune warrior a semblance of sentience. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's goal of evolving real life seems to have never been extinguished. Lin Moyu asked, "What must I do to obtain the true spirit rune?" The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign chuckled and pointed, and a vortex appeared in the void. "Enter and kill everyone inside. The true spirit rune will be yours, and I will also tell you the detailed method of refining ancient rune warriors. Let me warn you, it's very dangerous inside, and you might die." Lin Moyu laughed heartily and, without hesitation, transformed into a stream of light and rushed into the vortex. Chapter 2220, 2220. Chapter 2220, I'll do it myself. Danger. Lin Moyu had faced danger countless times, so many that he had lost count. Many times, he had narrowly escaped death. If he were truly afraid of death, he wouldn't have entered the Finger Ruins. Besides, Lin Moyu had confidence in his own strength. No matter how dangerous it was inside, there would be limits. He had trump cards, and even if he faced a supreme, he could still fight. Rushing out of the vortex, Lin Moyu saw the boundless starry sky. The starry sky was extremely prosperous, with countless stars shining behind him. The density of the stars was thousands of times greater than that of the current Great World. So this is the Great World of the ancient era, Lin Moyu muttered to himself. Just by looking at the number of stars, the ancient era was far more prosperous than the present. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign appeared beside Lin Moyu. "Your enemies are in front of you, and your allies are behind you. The task is to eliminate the enemies in front. Do you want to be the commander or one of the warriors? As my inheritor, I give you the right to choose." A large number of human warriors appeared in the starry sky. Each one had a powerful aura, almost all of them at the other shore realm, numbering in the tens of millions. Leading them were 10 saint sovereigns. Among them was an extremely powerful presence standing at the forefront, a supreme. Knowing that this was an evolution of runes, Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh. The human race was truly powerful back then. Millions of other shore realm cultivators were just a part of it. The human race's combat power was far beyond this. On the other side of the starry sky, countless enemies emerged. The invaders from the Black Blood Great Realm, the rebels from various races, and the controlled starry beasts all were here. Lin Moyu felt as if he had returned to the ancient era, participating in a great war. The number of enemies far exceeded that of the human race, at least 20 million. The number of saint sovereigns also far exceeded that of the human race, reaching 20, with one supreme. Excluding the supreme, the number of enemies was exactly twice that of the human race. The two sides were separated by billions of kilometers, and the Great War could break out at any moment. Whether as a commander or a warrior, the goal was the same, to eliminate the other side. On the surface, the human race was at a disadvantage, and victory seemed almost impossible. Lin Moyu frowned slightly. This test was too difficult for ordinary people. He calculated in his mind that at least half-step supreme strength was needed to lead this great war. The supremes would battle each other, and he would have to kill the enemy saint sovereigns, then let the saint sovereigns slaughter the other shore realm cultivators. But that was for ordinary people. For Lin Moyu just wanted to say, "Is that all?" In his view, this difficulty was not as troublesome as the neutron war star. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign smiled. "So, do you choose to be a warrior or a commander?" Lin Moyu shook his head. "Neither, I'll do it myself." As his words fell, Lin Moyu transformed into a stream of light and rushed into the battlefield. At the moment he moved, the war erupted. The human army launched a charge, and the enemy did the same. But Lin Moyu was faster. He stepped on the Rule Star River, space laws surged, and within 2 or 3 steps, he was already in the midst of the enemy army. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign squinted his eyes. What is he trying to do? He hadn't paid attention to the first 2 trials in the Finger Ruins and didn't know what Lin Moyu had done before. If he had known, he might not have been surprised. In the next second, the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign's eyes widened. Could it be? Quote. In the starry sky, a massive undead legion suddenly appeared. Skeleton god generals, death knights, and legion rulers appeared almost simultaneously. White sword chi illuminated the dim starry sky. Countless enemies were swallowed by the sword chi, turning into runes and disappearing. The undead legion, with an absolute numerical advantage, achieved a counter kill in an instant. The enemies evolved from runes were numerous, but Lin Moyu's undead legion was even more numerous. Next, the undying flames burned fiercely, and 25 skeleton kings flew out, charging at the Saint Sovereigns. The legion rulers also unleashed attacks, cooperating with the skeleton kings. By the time the human army of tens of millions arrived, 1/5 of the enemies had already been killed. A battle that was supposed to be a sure defeat for the human race became incredibly easy with Lin Moyu's intervention. The battle quickly turned one-sided, with the human race gaining an absolute advantage. Boom! A Saint Sovereign self-destructed, the immense power sweeping through the starry sky, killing many undead legion members. But this was a world evolved from runes. The self-destruction of the Saint Sovereign did not destroy the starry sky, nor did it cause deep space chaos. The undead legion members who were killed quickly revived and continued to fight. One Saint Sovereign after another began to self-destruct. Unable to win, they self-destructed before dying. The undead legion also died in batches, but with the effect of the undying undead, they could quickly revive. With Lin Moyu's intervention, the war became completely one-sided. In just half an hour, the enemies were slaughtered clean. Even the Supreme fell in the siege. Among them, the human Supreme played a crucial role, while Lin Moyu's undead legion played a very minor role. Even the skeleton kings were not very useful against the Supreme. Lin Moyu estimated that it would take at least 1 million Saint Sovereign-level skeleton kings to possibly exhaust a Supreme, and that would be a relatively weak Supreme. At that level, quantity becomes increasingly insignificant. The life and death of a race are often determined by the top combat power. After the battle ended, everyone turned back into runes and disappeared. Lin Moyu returned to the side of the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign. "Senior, the battle is over." The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign looked at Lin Moyu with a strange expression. Lin Moyu felt uncomfortable under his gaze. "Senior, is there a problem?" The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign shook his head and smiled, reaching out to grab 2 stars from afar, which instantly flew into his hand. One of the stars turned into an ancient rune, the True Spirit Rune. As one of the 12 core runes, the True Spirit Rune exuded a sense of spirituality, different from the other 11 runes. With this, all 12 core runes needed for the ancient rune warrior were complete. The other star turned into a pearl, containing the detailed method of refining the ancient rune warrior. It included various details, such as what materials to use, what materials could be substituted, and the effects of using different materials. It was clear that the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign had made countless attempts and efforts to refine the ancient rune warrior. No wonder he said that the ancient rune warrior was the culmination of his life's work. After giving the True Spirit Rune and the pearl to Lin Moyu, the Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign continued to look at him. Lin Moyu felt increasingly strange. "Do you have something to say?" The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign said, "I was wondering, what is your true identity?" This question was odd. Wasn't he a human? What other identity could he have? Could he see that I came from another world? Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat, unsure. The Holy Rune Heavenly Sovereign shook his head. "No, I mean, what is your relationship with him? Why was he so certain back then that you would come here and insisted that I make all these arrangements?" Originally, most of the 12 core runes were shattered, and I didn't have time to repair them. But he